Good evening, friends. My request our convener CA Vivek Agarwal to play motto song of ICAI. Kindly play the motto song of ICAI.
Sure. It's audible?
No.
1 second.
Still not audible.
य एष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति य एष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति कामं 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 कामंशो पुरुषो निर्विमाणः निर्विमाणः तदेव शुक्रं तदेव शुक्रदब्रह्मा तदब्रह्मा तदेवामृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकः शतः सर्वे तदुनाद्यति कश्चन एतद्वैत 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 एतद्वैत.
Thank you very much, convener CA Vivek Agarwal. Warm welcome to all of you at this forum of ACAE Chartered Accountant Study Circle. At the outset, I wish you all a very, very happy, healthy, and high growth financial year 21-22. Today being 1st of April, on behalf of ACAE Chartered Accountant Study Circle and on my personal behalf, I am CA Anup Sanghai. Welcome our guest speaker, Central Council member from Ahmedabad, CA Aniket Sunil Talati sir, on this forum for a 3 CPR seminar. We have another guest speaker, CA Pramod Jain ji, who will be joining from Delhi, and he is also Central Council member from New Delhi. ACA Study Circle recognizes the kind presence of our own Eastern India Regional Representative Central Council member, CA Ranjit Agarwal and CA Sushil Ji Goyal. Welcome Ranjit Agarwal ji and welcome Sushil Goyal ji to this platform of ACA. Members of the study circle and all our delegates, I welcome you on behalf of ACA, and your presence encourages us to keep organizing these kinds of programs day after. My sincere gratitude to all of us for joining this program. There are two small announcements. One is on 3rd of April, we have a 3 CPR program on GST, where we have CA Sushil Goyal, our Indirect Tax Committee Vice Chairman ICI, where he'll be deliberating on inquiries and audit under the service tax regime, a much sought after topic on GST. And our co-speaker with CA Sushil Goyal ji is CA Abhay Desai from Vadodara, who will be joining on the valuation issues on GST. This event is on 3rd of April and the same timing, 4 to 7 p.m. This is a 3 CPR program. So kindly join that event also. Another announcement, we at ACA, we will be going to have a training program for our CA members. We will be having this training program, which will be spread over for 12 weeks. And per week, we'll be going to have 2 hours every Tuesday and Friday. So far, this has been designed like this, which is basically e-transformation of CA firm, which is the need of the hour. So this is a program which is on the anvil. The link will be shared to you in this chat box. Whosoever may be interested for joining this program can write their name and interest. We'll be sharing the link for joining this program also in the chat box. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining. And over to you, our convener, CA Vivek Agarwal. Over to you, CA Vivek.
Thank you, Anupji. And I welcome Aniket Sunil Talati ji at the platform of ACAE. We all know that he is a CCM, but along with being a CCM, he has got various uh, uh, office in his hand. He is the chairman of Financial Review Reporting Board, Financial Reporting Review Board, and convener of Digital Reengineering and Learning Directorate. He has also served on Board of Studies, Digital Accounting and Assurance Standard Board, Accounting Standard Board, AASB Direct Tax Committee. Being a Master in Commerce and FCA, he is the Central Council member of the Institute for the year term 2019-22. He was elected as the Ahmedabad branch in the term 2010-2013 and thereafter 2013-2016. He was elected in WIRC for the term 2016-19 and he has served as the youngest ever chairman of Ahmedabad branch for the year 2014-15 as well as secretary WIAC for the year 2017-18. So can who else can introduce him better than the two council members uh, from the east? So I request Ranjit Kumar Agarwal ji and thereafter Sushil ji to give 2 minutes of deliberation and also introduce our CCM from West. Ranjit bhaiya.
Thank you, Vivek, Anup Sangai ji, and my very good friend and junior brother Aniket Talati from Ahmedabad, a very fantastic gentleman, chairman of the FRRB second year in a row, and he has done a lot of work in this, how this common error, and he was the person who has first coined this idea to how to educate the masses about the common error we are doing while signing the balance sheet and financial statement. So with his deliberation today, members at large will be highly deliberated. My other council colleague Sushil Goyal ji, I can see Sanjeev Sanghi, past regional council member, and all the members of this fraternity. Good afternoon to all of you. Today the ACA has chosen a very apt topic like what are the common error, common mistakes are done by the members while signing the financial statement. And at the same time, we have deliberated in the board regarding various common small. Aniket will tell you today, whether you are writing the AS2 lower of the cost or sale price or realizable value. What is the exact word? It's a sale price or realizable value. Or whether you are putting the last year figure in the depreciation schedule. So these are the small errors, but Aniket will tell you while deliberation. And another very important topic has been set by ACE, like overview of the standards of auditing. The debate is going on whether we are giving a reasonable assurance, what is the professional skepticism, or whether we are able to detect the fraud of the mismanagement by the management, whether we are liable or not, reasonable assurance, or standard of auditing as per section 143 of the Companies Act. So many issues are there. So Pramod Jain is the right person who will deliberate after Aniket on this topic. So I wish this conference a great success, great learning by two very very knowledgeable. I can say Aniket, although it is junior, but the knowledge wise is very senior to me. So welcome to Aniket for this forum, and over to Vivek.
Thank you, Ranjit bhaiya. Sushil bhaiya.
Thank you, Vivek. Thank you, Anupji. My council colleague Ranjit Bhai, the Udine man. I can opportunity to share the platform with him. And Aniket, the smart boy from Ahmedabad, I can say. और अहमदाबाद से जो लोग होते हैं सब तो स्मार्ट ही होते हैं हम लोग. उसके बारे में कुछ बोलने का नहीं. All things Ranjit has spoken about the FRRB and all. मैं उसको छोटा नहीं बोलता कभी क्योंकि मेरे से बहुत लंबा है तो मैं उसको हमेशा बड़े भाई ही बोलता हूँ. Basically one thing I want to tell about the Aniket, which is not mentioned by Ranjit, that he is media man of ICA. Whatever media publications you are seeing, whether Twitter or anything going to press, this must be have concurrence from the Aniket, then only it can go to media. And he has played a very vital role during the last year when we have postponed exam number of time and lot of apprehension students were having and the parents were having, and whether exam will held or not held. So correctly, shoulder to shoulder with the president and the exam committee, Aniket Bhai handled this media, and ultimately we given the best result during the exam. So some credit also goes to Aniket for this. That I wanted to mention here. And whenever we discuss something about the audit and all, I see the Aniket have full practical knowledge. You may see other speakers who are speaking through the books, having the theoretical knowledge, but Aniket having the practical knowledge of doing audit of his own. So that all the participant will witness today. I have no doubt about this. So over to Vivek and wishing all the participants happy learning time. Aniket Bhai, wish to see you soon in Ahmedabad. And Sanjeev Bhai, keep on doing the information technology work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sushil Bhaiya. Yes, rightly said. Few days back, when there was a doubt about the number of articleship allowed by a member, Aniket ji was the first person to clarify on the Twitter, and we see to his tweet to confirm anything which is negative or positive. And I also had a small chance to work with him in the forensic accounting standard when we last met in Bombay. And I have become his fan following, as rightly said by Sushil Bhaiya. He has a practical approach. What is the meaning of an auditor? What is the meaning of an investigator? I have learned many things with him with a small instance in the forensic accounting standard, and looking forward for a wonderful deliberation. Over to you, Aniket.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Vivek ji and Anup ji, for setting the stage. To my two senior respected council colleagues, Ranjit Bhai and Sushil Bhai, thank you very much once again for inviting me, for organizing this important topic, and more importantly, compliments to all of you, the organizers. Generally, GST का topic होता है, audit का topic होता है, then one is able to get 100, 200 participation. But on this so-called dry topic of accounting and auditing, to have 100 participants in this topic, my salute and kudos to the entire team at Kolkata. And in fact, I'll be honest, I am now not that surprised. I'll be very, very honest, and from heart, I will say that when I entered the council, one had a very different perspective of East or Kolkata as a city, coming from West, and I've honestly never been to Kolkata. So Ranjit bhai, ye aapko dhyan rakhna hai. Once I was able to come for a small event, so the entire perception of the city was very different. But with 100% sincerity and honesty, I'm saying this. As soon as I interacted with all three council members from East, one of them is now our Honorable Vice President Debashish Dada, and both Ranjit bhai and Sushil bhai, I was extremely pleased, and more importantly, my entire perception of the practice, the chartered accountants, and the entire area of East, and more particularly of Kolkata, changed. I think my compliments to all of you for sending these genuine gems of the profession to the council, and I'm not saying it merely because they are my colleagues, and I must say this in a public forum. As Ranjit bhai and Sushil bhai will vouch, I'm sometimes more brutally honest than required, but yet in this I will be extremely honest and say that they have contributed immensely. Their vision, the thought process that they bring to the council, and the experience which all three of them have, which always been a pleasure for me to work. And it was not a surprise that when the term of vice presidentship came, the first person to become from their batch was from the East, because I think they truly deserve. And I had no doubt in my mind that East will surely have a vice president. So compliments and congratulations to all of you from the East and from Kolkata for having a vice president after so many years. Special thanks once again to Ranjit bhai for inviting me and organizing this program. I also recognize our regional council member Sanjeev ji and the entire team who has been extremely active at the East. I think Ranjit bhai briefly mentioned about the FRRP. And the topic that has been given to me is on the common errors of financial statement. और काफी बार जब ये टॉपिक पे हम डिस्कस करते हैं तो लगता है कि इट्स अ फॉल्ट फाइंडिंग एक्सरसाइज. वी आर ओनली पुटिंग अ गन टू द ऑडिटर्स, टू आवर फेलो चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स एंड सेइंग आपकी बैलेंस शीट में ये गलत था, ये गलत था, ये गलत था. तो वो आज डेफिनेटली हम डिस्कस करेंगे विवेक जी. वी विल गो थ्रू ऑल दोज इश्यूज दैट आई हैव हाइलाइटेड हियर. बट बिफोर दैट, वन इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग I feel I should share at the beginning, at the outset, and more specifically, it's beginning of a new year, 1st April 2021, a new financial year. Two important changes that are getting effected today. The first is in the form of the revised applicability of accounting standards. The council at its 400th meeting has passed this, and today the notification has been circulated. Very shortly, it will also be probably posted on the website of the institute. And I thought I should touch upon that important aspect before I begin my deliberations on the accounting standard errors. So I will share with you a very important change that the council has decided to make with regards to the applicability of the standard. And here again, I have the pleasure and honor of the three council members from East and also all my council colleagues who unanimously had this feeling कि जहां भी छोटी audits हैं, in the sense that there are chartered accountants who have clients who are non-corporates, partnership firms, proprietor firms, or non-corporate entities जैसे कि trust या other companies जहां Companies Act involve नहीं होता. AOP है, BOI है, other forms of organization है. वहां accounting standards should not be rigid. In fact, they must be such that it is extremely easy for our chartered accountants to follow. And with that intention, the council deliberated this agenda in threadbare in detail. And today the announcement has come with regards to the applicability of this revised accounting standards. I will be sharing my screen with you. Vivek ji, just confirm if it is visible to you on the screen.
Perfect.
Yeah. So while we were deliberating the introduction, I have very quickly prepared these 2-3 slides for the benefit of members. And like I said, the announcement आज ही आया है. So probably this will be the first audience which is looking to these changes. And then we will briefly also discuss about the Schedule 3 changes जो MCA ने 5 दिन पहले notify किए हैं. There were 2 important changes, as you are all aware. One was with regards to the audit trail, the accounting software that the company is following, that must now have an audit trail. We all understand what is the meaning of audit trail. मैं अगर सितंबर में या अगस्त के महीने में मार्च की या फरवरी की एंट्री अमेंड कर रहा हूं, the restriction is not that you must not be allowed to edit. When you go, for example, for audit or the books come to your office और आप अगस्त महीने में डेप्रिसिएशन कैलकुलेट करके क्लाइंट को बोलते हो कि ये डेप्रिसिएशन की एंट्री डालिए, तो वो जो एंट्री अगस्त या सितंबर में डालेगा, that entry will be posted in the financial year 2021. But the audit trail which is required, it will show that this entry was recorded in August or September. Here there is no non-compliance because yes, as auditors, we are giving the depreciation. Based on our depreciation working verification, they have put the entry. But the primary reason for bringing this change is so that backdated changes, manipulations are avoided, and this entire change has been brought at the behest of SFIU. So why I am sharing it is because ये एक important change था 25 मार्च को, and the other is the change to the Schedule 3 of the Companies Act. So before we discuss the Schedule 3, let us look at the accounting standards and the applicability that is going to change. For all those of you who are in practice for a lot of years, immediately आपको screen पे देख के एक चीज मालूम पड़ेगी कि ये एक बहुत बड़ा change है. Level 4 entities in our accounting standards. Behind me, you can see I have the compendium of accounting standards. We have all gone through these basic 29 accounting standards in our life, and हमेशा 3 ही level होते थे. For the first time, there are now 4 levels that the institute is now dividing non-corporate entities into. Non-company matlab proprietorships, partnerships, LLP, because LLP is also non-company entity. AOP, BOI इन सभी के लिए कौन से स्टैंडर्ड्स अप्लाई होंगे, उसमें अब 4 लेवल हो गए हैं. The level 1 entities, and these definitions are aligned with the MSME definition. So जो माइक्रो, स्मॉल और मीडियम एंटरप्राइजेस की डेफिनेशन है उसको अलाइन करते हुए to bring it in line with the government's definitions and thresholds. Only changes in MSME, the classification is based on investment in plant and machinery. उसको हमने चेंज करके borrowed funds लिखा है. So अगर borrowed funds exceed the amount, then you, depending on your turnover and your borrowed capital or your borrowed funds, will be classified as level 1, 2, 3 or 4. जो level 1 entities है उनको all AS 1 to 29 are applicable. Now जब मैं बोल रहा हूँ सारे AS applicable, at the same time we need to understand that for example 21, 23 or 27 are generally not applicable to non-corporate, क्योंकि subsidiary, associates या वो limited review वाली items वहां नहीं आती है. But standard जो है from start to end, the entire measurement, disclosure and presentation paragraphs. Accounting standards के ये 3 major parts होते हैं. Measurement यानी आप कैसे revenue को recognize करेंगे, कैसे कोई expense को recognize करेंगे, उसे कहते हैं measurement. So measurement में अगर applicability में या disclosures में या presentation में changes है, उसके exemptions दिए गए हैं. Level 1 all are applicable. To level 2 entities, cash flow has been made non-mandatory. If you go further, level 3 entities जो हमारी regular tax audit के client हैं, जिनमें हम tax audit करते हैं, उनमें से काफी सारों में exemptions दे दिए हैं. सबसे important AS 15 जो employee benefits का था, जहां retirement benefits एक बहुत important part है, तो उसे exemptions करके निकाल दिया गया है. Similarly AS 10 और AS 11 में disclosure के exemptions दे दिए गए हैं. 10 deals with property, plant, equipment and 11 deals with effects of foreign exchange. So with that, a lot of benefits have been given to smaller entities, and as you move forward to level 4 entities, जो हमारी छोटी clients हैं, छोटी firms या partnership या proprietary entities हैं, जिसका हम audit करते हैं, in that you can see that from 17 to 29 limited standards are made applicable. तो सिर्फ 9 या 10 स्टैंडर्ड हमारी छोटी फर्म्स की ऑडिट में अब से लागू होंगे. And this notification is coming and being announced on the website. Only today it has been circulated. So I thought I will bring it first, since the topic today given to me was dealing with accounting standard. I thought it appropriate to discuss these important changes with all of you. You will receive the details of what are the exemptions, how these entities are categorized very shortly, and you will be able to see it on the ICAI website also. But I thought it is important to share with you. जब विवेक जी ने मुझे टॉपिक दिया है कॉमन एरर्स का, तो मैं सिर्फ बुरी खबर या बुरे समाचार ना दूं, कोई अच्छे समाचार या पॉजिटिव नोट जो काउंसिल काम कर रही है टू मेक द लाइफ ऑफ आवर चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स इन प्रैक्टिस इजियर, द लाइफ ऑफ आवर स्मॉल एंड मीडियम प्रैक्टिशनर्स, द SMP easier. I thought I should present here before you, and this is one large step in that direction. 4 levels में entities को divide किया है और काफी सारे complicated standards को exempt कर दिया है छोटी partnership और proprietorship audit में से. This is with regards to non-company. With regard to company balance sheet, let me share with you a lot of changes will have to be made with the balance sheet, which will be prepared for the year 1st April 2021 and the year ending on 31st of March 22. इसकी बैलेंस शीट में और इसके कारों में बहुत सारे चेंजेस आए हैं जो गवर्नमेंट ने 25 मार्च को नोटिफाई किए थे. The notification was with regards to the audit trail in accounting, और उसके साथ साथ एक चेंज जो किया है वो है जनरल इंस्ट्रक्शंस फॉर प्रिपरेशन ऑफ बैलेंस शीट और प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट. उसमें भी बहुत चेंजेस किए हैं. I will not bore you with all the changes, बट थोड़े चेंजेस जो मुझे लगता है बहुत जरूरी है आज सबसे शेयर करना, क्योंकि आप किसी भी कंपनी, अगर कंपनी एसएससी के ऑडिटर हैं तो इस साल की बैलेंस शीट में आपको ये चीजें खास ध्यान रखनी है। और दो बैलेंस शीट आप मार्च 22 की जून, जुलाई या अगस्त 2022 में बनाएंगे, there are some points which are immediately applicable, and I would request your clear focus and attention on some of these important issues. For example, the first change is with regards to the rounding off. अभी तक ये ऑप्शनल था, नाउ राउंडिंग ऑफ यानी कि लैक्स और करोड़ में जो बैलेंस शीट देनी थी उसके लिए आपको टर्नओवर के बेसिस पे, not on the basis of total income, looking to the turnover, you will have to prepare your balance sheet in that. Not a major change, no challenge, but 2-3 very important changes which I would request all of you to pay attention to. Trade payables यानी जिसे हम sundry creditors कहते थे, उसकी आउटस्टैंडिंग का अब से एजिंग शेड्यूल देना है। You will remember in the debtors or the receivables we were giving more than 6 months, less than 6 months. This has always been there. But now payables, receivables both have an aging, और aging सिर्फ 6 महीने नहीं, 1 साल से कम कितने payables हैं, 1 से 2 साल, that is 1 or 2 years, how much amount is payable, how much amount is payable for 2 to 3 years, and finally 3+ years. So entire trade payables and receivables will have to be broken down. 1 साल से ज्यादा अगर कोई आउटस्टैंडिंग पेएबल खड़ा है, 2 साल से या 3 साल से, उसे अलग करके दिखाना है। इन केस ऑफ रिसीवेबल्स तो आपको अप टू 6 months, 6 months to 1 year, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 or more, तो आपको बेसिकली 5 हिस्सों में आपके रिसीवेबल्स को भी शेड्यूल ऑफ एजिंग देना पड़ेगा। This will now be a part of the balance sheet. आपको नहीं देना है, कंपनी को देना है. It is the responsibility of the company, because financial statements preparation is the responsibility of the company. But we as auditors, as consultants, will have to bring it to their attention and make sure that there is awareness regarding this. और एक बहुत बड़ा चेंज जो आया है with these changes in the general instructions is point number 8. Please read it with me. It's a very substantial change. It says company needs to disclose if the books of accounts are tallied with the quarterly or monthly returns filed with banker. यानी जहां भी अभी किसी भी क्लाइंट की सीसी लिमिट है, ओडी है या कोई टर्म लोन है, और वहां they have a charge over the receivables or drawing power has been calculated. In those cases, it is now going to be mandatory for the company to state कि मैंने अगर स्टॉक स्टेटमेंट 30 जून का दिया है या 31 मार्च का दिया है, that stock statement tallies with my books of accounts. Many of us are aware, hitherto companies क्या करती थी, 29 मार्च या 30 मार्च का स्टॉक स्टेटमेंट बैंक में जमा कर देती थी. And when we were auditing and we were giving our audit report and we were signing the balance sheet, we were ensuring that the stock statement, the inventory position as of 31st of March is correct. We were verifying the stock, we were looking at the valuation. But companies, काफी केसेस में ऐसा होता था कि 31 मार्च की इन्वेंट्री 4 करोड़ रुपए और 29 मार्च का जो स्टॉक स्टेटमेंट गया है बैंक में वो 10 करोड़ 12 करोड़ रुपए क्यों जाता था, हमें सबको मालूम है. उनको बैंक के लिए डीपी लिमिट सेट करनी होती थी एंड कंपनीज वर गिविंग दिस. बट नाउ दे हैव टू डिस्क्लोज दिस फैक्ट दैट वेदर बुक्स आर टैलिंग विद दिस क्वार्टरली स्टेटमेंट. सिमिलरली अगर बोरोड फंड किसी और पर्पस के लिए यूज हुआ है तो आपको डिस्क्लोज करना है. ऑल इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टीज विच द कंपनी ओन्स, उसकी ओनरशिप कंपनी के पास है, उसके टाइटल डॉक्यूमेंट्स हैं, that they have to disclose. If there is a revaluation, then the revaluation has to be certified that it is done by a registered valuer. जो IBBI registered valuers हैं उससे ही आपने करवाया है. If there are any loans and advances to directors or key managerial personnel or to the promoters, they now have to be very clearly showed in the related party schedule. And as a percentage of total loans, how much is taken by the promoters will have to be given. One very important change is also in the CWIP. Now you will have to, as the company, if you are chartered accountant in industry and preparing balance sheet, or for others who are chartered accountants in practice and auditors, we will have to educate the client कि capital work in progress में हम asset जब तक capitalize नहीं होता था सारा amount CWIP में add करते रहते थे. And when the capitalization used to happen, maybe 2 years or 3 years later, we used to put the entire amount in PPE, that is property, plant and equipment. Now you will have to give an aging schedule for CWIP also. Project अगर stall हो गया है या suspend हो गया है, you have to separately show. If it is not suspended, what portion of your CWIP belongs to 1 year, less than 1 year, more than 1 year, entire aging will have to be provided. So a huge change also coming for CWIP. अगर willful defaulter बैंक ने उसे किया है, then you will have to, company will have to disclose whether the company is declared a willful defaulter. If there are any transactions, and again very important, since I am discussing this in the East and in Calcutta, you are all aware that a lot of companies were struck off by the ROC in the previous years. Now, if any transaction has been done with these companies which are struck off, those transactions have to be disclosed. तो बैलेंस शीट में अगर किसी का एडवांस लोन या कोई सेल्स परचेज का ट्रांजैक्शन हुआ है where the companies have subsequently been struck off, or those companies are appearing as striked off in the MCA portal, that will have to be disclosed. And the last important change that I would like to discuss with you today, and again a sea change in how balance sheet is being prepared. Ratios will now be a part of the balance sheet. अभी तक financial statements मतलब there was balance sheet, there was P&L, there was cash flow, accounting policy and notes to accounts. इन 5 चीजों में balance sheet समाप्त हो जाती थी. Notes में if there were requirements by the Companies Act, for example, disclose auditors remuneration separately, disclose other items, we were disclosing. Now in the disclosure, there are ratios, as you can see on your screen, current ratio, debt equity ratio, debt service coverage ratio. ये सभी ratios आपकी balance sheet के part बनेंगे. So the balance sheet will have all the items of ratios to be included. Very important change which will come in. And in fact, the report that the auditors give will now have to reference some of these ratios. So if you see that, for example, the ratios are extremely poor, there is no return on capital or return on investment, the current ratio is dwindling, the debt equity ratio is too high, then I don't think we now have an option but to qualify going concern or to suitably amend and modify our report as per SS 705 and issue a qualified or modified opinion if these ratios are not appropriate. So therefore, I thought that before we begin our common errors with regards to the accounting standards, 2 important changes, Vivekji, that I wanted to discuss with the audience today. One was with regards to the applicability of accounting standards, where I have shared with you. There are now 4 levels. Hitherto there were only 3 levels. Now in 4 levels, the balance sheet, the entities will be divided. The definitions are in line with the MSME definition, and a lot of exemptions have been given for small audits or small companies whose audit opinion is being issued by chartered accountants in case of non-company entities. And second, in case of company entities, Schedule 3 has been amended and a lot of changes have been given which will have to now be incorporated by the management, and some of these changes ke upar we will have to give a comment on. We have discussed some of the changes which deal with trade receivables and payables, which now have to be given in aging form. Your stock statement submitted with the bank, it has to now tally with your books of account, and a statement to that effect will have to be given by the management. If there are transactions with companies which are struck off, those also now have to be reported. So some 20-25 important changes that have been brought in. With this,
one question.
Yes, sir.
Why are these changes in Schedule 3? Whether government is bringing CARO 2020 from backdoor or it's moving towards self-declaration?
No, it's a very wonderful question, Vivekji, and let me tell you that Ranjit Bhai, Sushil Bhai are here. Debashish Dada was the vice chairman of AASB, and he was the chairman of CGCLC when this discussion was happening. And a lot of these changes, in fact, Vivekji, the government was initially saying that let the auditors comment on ratios, let the auditors prepare these items. With the effort of the entire council, we were able to convince the ministry that auditors' ki responsibility ye nahi ho sakti. Lot of these items were therefore moved outside of CARO, and they have now been placed in the Schedule 3 that let company self-disclose ke kya status hai on these items. So you are absolutely right. We are moving towards a self-declaration kind of an era, and more importantly, here the institute has played a very important role. क्योंकि आपको और मुझे विवेक जी कभी मालूम नहीं पड़ेगा कि बैंक स्टेटमेंट या उसको जो स्टॉक स्टेटमेंट उसने बैंक को सबमिट किया है वो क्या दिया है. आपको वो कोई कॉपी दिखा सकता है, फैक्चुअली बैंक में शायद कोई और सबमिट किया हो. सो देयरफॉर द ओनस इज ऑन हिम, द onerous responsibility is on the client that he must give an affirmative statement so that tomorrow if the account becomes an NPA and there is an investigation by CBI, SFIO or any other organization, they can then hold the promoters guilty saying आपने लिख के दिया था कि books और बैंक में दिया गया statement tally होते हैं, why they are not tallying. So this is the prime reason, and like you rightly mentioned, very thankfully we have been able to shift a lot of onus on the management. Yes, but the revised CARO also has some responsibilities which are going to increase, and therefore I can only share on that point that we have to forget the days where for a few thousand rupees we were doing audits of company entities. It is now the time to realize that the entire expectation of the government machinery has changed. The MCA, the entire corporate law affairs has extremely taken a very different view of how companies were functioning. We are all aware how 1 decade ago you could have created companies, whatever had to happen was happening. There were no checks and balances. Now we are in a very different changed era, and here the responsibility is extremely high even on us as auditors, and therefore we have to appreciate and accept that yes, the remuneration that we are charging must be in line with the efforts that we will have to put in for these revised expectations of all the stakeholders, and more importantly the risk that we are all going to take. With this, I'll move to my presentation due to the shortage of time. Vivekji, questions you will take at the end if there are any.
Sure, perfect.
So we come back then to the common errors. Ranjit bhai ne ek do example diye, inventory pe, stock ke valuation pe, what are the mistakes. I will share this entire presentation with Vivek ji, and you can then forward it to all the members. It will be a great learning experience for you also to go through this. I will in my presentation, due to the paucity of time, restrict to certain very common errors, some basic errors, which I feel are very important for your members to know. So yes, these are the common errors that the FRRB has observed. FRRB kya karta hai? I'll just take 2 minutes from you to explain. The FRRB is a board created by ICI. In fact, it is a board where not even the president or vice president are members. No member of disciplinary committee is also allowed to be a part of FRRB. I have been given the responsibility 2nd year in a row to be the chairman of this board. As the board, we select company balance sheets on a random basis. ऐसा नहीं है कि मुझे विवेक जी की बैलेंस शीट, सुशील भाई की बैलेंस शीट लेनी है और मैं रिव्यू करूं. नो, it's a totally randomized balance sheet selection process through which companies are selected. Their financial statements, that is balance sheet, P&L and notes, are then sent to a technical reviewer, जो उसको review करता है for compliance with standards, accounting standards, audit standards and Companies Act. इन चीजों से कंपेयर करके अगर उसको कोई deviations या observations मिलते हैं, then those are pointed out. These are then given to a group which is FRRG, Financial Reporting Review Group, जहां 5-6 एक्सपर्ट्स बैठ के देखते हैं कि ये नॉन कंप्लायंसेस ठीक है या नहीं, उसका ऑब्जर्वेशन ठीक है या नहीं, और कोई नॉन कंप्लायंस दिखता है तो उसे भी ऐड करते हैं. एंड देन इट इज सेंट टू द ऑफिस ऑफ FRRB, जहां स्टाफ उसे टेक्निकली वेरीफाई करता है, एंड देन द बोर्ड रिव्यूज इट एट अ होलिस्टिक 360 डिग्री रिव्यू लेवल. सो दिस इज द रोल ऑफ FRRB. And lot of companies are referred to us by the regulators. Lot of times what happens is the C&AG, the IBBI, the election commission will refer certain companies to us or certain parties to us. We verify its compliance with the accounting standard. जहां हमें लगता है कि ऑडिटर ने मिस्टेक्स किए हैं, but they are not very grave that affect the true and fair view, we issue an advisory to the auditor saying these are the non-compliances, please be careful. But where non-compliances are grave, जहां दिन का रात हो गया, कंपनी में क्वालिफाइड ओपिनियन जाना चाहिए और एक अनमोडिफाइड ओपिनियन इश्यू हुआ है, in such cases the board may decide to refer the matter to director discipline, who then looks at the facts, calls for information, and if required disciplinary action is initiated. So very important role that the FRRB is playing. And like Ranjit bhai mentioned, my intention as I took over as the chairman was not कि हमारे members की balance sheet की गलतियां निकालो और उसे हम DC में भेजें. In fact, this year we have and in the last year done a lot of outreach activities to educate our members कि कौन सी common errors हो रहे हैं. Publications in this effect have been issued. We have run a social media campaign where the FRRB is on Twitter and other medium where you can find the common errors on a daily basis being shared by membership. So my perspective is that we don't want to just find auditors who have made mistakes. We want to improve the overall audit quality in the country. And this is not my vision, it is the vision of the entire council, because of which the ASB, the AASB, the FRRB, the PRB, that is a peer review board, the QRB, and now a center of audit quality has been established to improve the audit quality in this country. And with the sole aim that and belief that our chartered accountants are definitely well equipped and qualified to improve the quality of audit. Only thing is there has to be more engagement with the ICI and make them aware of what are the common non-compliances. In this regard, let me share with you then standard by standard certain non-compliances. The first standard, which is in fact AS1, even in ICDS or pre-ICDS when the Income Tax Act was there in section 145, there this standard has always been there. तो आप कंपनी का ऑडिट करते हो, नॉन कंपनी का ऑडिट करते हो, किसी का भी करते हो, एक चीज मैंडेटरी है, वो है डिस्क्लोजर ऑफ अकाउंटिंग पॉलिसीज. And 24% of non-compliance, 77% of non-compliances deal with para 24 of AS1, which is the main principle of this accounting standard 1, dealing with disclosure of accounting policies. और सबसे बड़ी गलती क्या है जो हमारे मेंबर करते हैं AS1 में? We assume कि जहां जो स्टैंडर्ड एप्लीकेबल जिस साल में हो रहा है मैं उसी स्टैंडर्ड के रिलेटिंग अकाउंटिंग पॉलिसी दूं. मतलब अगर मेरे वहां इस साल इंपेयरमेंट नहीं हो रहा कंपनी में, there is no impairment of assets, we don't give an accounting policy in the books of accounts with relation to impairment. Now sir, the expectation is in this standard there may be no impairment during the financial year 2021, but you have to state the fact that yes, the entity has a policy to test for impairment. मैंने मेरे बैलेंस शीट में एसेट्स देखे, प्लांट एंड मशीनरी 3 करोड़ की, उसकी मैंने मार्केट वैल्यू निकाली और उसमें से अगर मैं प्रोडक्शन लेता हूं, कितने साल तक वो प्रोडक्शन देगा, वो कैश जनरेटिंग यूनिट हो गया, उसको मैं प्रेजेंट वैल्यू पे लाके मेरी बुक्स में जो वैल्यू है उससे कंपेयर करूं, और यस इफ देयर इज अ पॉजिटिव कैश फ्लो, यानी इस 3 करोड़ की मशीन से मैं आगे जाके 10 करोड़ कमाने वाला हूं या 5 करोड़ कमाने वाला हूं, देन द वैल्यू एट 3 करोड़ इज ओके। बट अगर बुक में 3 करोड़ की मशीनरी है, उसको मैं मार्केट में स्क्रैप में बेचूं तो 1 करोड़ रुपया भी नहीं आएगा, और प्रोडक्शन पूरा निकाल लूं तो भी सिर्फ 2 करोड़ का कैश जनरेशन होता है, then you will have to impair the asset. Now impairment is secondary. Whether you have a policy for impairment, that fact you must give. So there are certain basic standards. Borrowing cost. What do we understand generally when we discuss borrowing cost? कि interest अगर capitalize किया है तो ही AS 16 applicable होता है. Sir, AS 16 doesn't deal with capitalization of interest. It deals with the entire gamut of borrowing cost. यानी जो इंटरेस्ट पीएनएल में डेबिट हुआ है वो भी, और जो कैपिटलाइज हुआ है वो भी. आपको क्या लिखना है कि भैया मेरी बोरोइंग कॉस्ट की पॉलिसी है, अगर इंटरेस्ट एक्सपेंस रेवेन्यू नेचर है इट गोज टू पीएनएल, इफ इट इज विद रिलेशन टू अ क्वालिफाइंग एसेट, दैट इज द टर्म AS 16 uses. If it is in relation to a qualifying asset, then I am capitalizing that interest. This is the policy and you must include. It may be possible that there is no qualifying asset and you are not capitalizing interest, but the fact that you have a policy must be disclosed. Some companies don't have inventory in that year, so people don't mention. No, you have to state how you will value inventory. Investments, how are you accounting for investment? Current investments and non-current investments. That has to be disclosed. Employee benefits. सबसे बढ़िया एग्जांपल है, earlier AS 15 was retirement benefits 2007 के पहले तक. In 2008 this standard was renamed as employee benefits. सिर्फ रिटायरमेंट के एक्सपेंसेस नहीं है, शॉर्ट टर्म एम्प्लॉय बेनिफिट्स जो आप मंथ टू मंथ देते हो, सैलरी, बोनस, पीएफ, ESIC, these are all also part of the employee benefit standard. स्टैंडर्ड के 2 पार्ट हैं, शॉर्ट टर्म बेनिफिट्स एंड पोस्ट रिटायरमेंट बेनिफिट्स. हम सोचते हैं कि AS 15 यानी सिर्फ पोस्ट रिटायरमेंट बेनिफिट, ग्रेजुइटी, लीव एनकैशमेंट. नहीं, कंपनी को अकाउंटिंग पॉलिसी पूरी लिखनी है. हाउ डू यू रिकॉग्नाइज शॉर्ट टर्म एम्प्लॉय बेनिफिट्स? वेल, एज यू आर ऑल अवेयर, 12 महीने हैं तो 12 महीने की सैलरी पीएनएल में डेबिट होती है. So you must state that yes, short-term employee benefits are accounted on accrual basis. Long-term may be on the basis of actuarial valuation. So that fact that you are recognizing short-term differently and long-term differently, that is what comes in part of AS1. Accounting for taxes on income, deferred tax आपने कैसे recognize किया? Deferred tax नहीं है तो भी income tax expense कैसे book करते हो? That you must mention. Impairment we have discussed. If you have a policy for it, please mention. And provisions, contingent liability, contingent asset. आज कोई contingency नहीं है 31st March 20 की बैलेंस शीट में या 21 की बैलेंस शीट में. But that doesn't mean आपकी पॉलिसी ही नहीं है contingent liability की. Tomorrow a new contingent liability may arise. So you must state in your books of accounts that the company has a policy to recognize contingent liabilities. Contingent assets are not recognized, and all provisions as required are made as per AS 29. So therefore, most common error with AS1 is we feel that only accounting policies applicable should be disclosed. No, if there is no amount of impairment, there is no retirement benefit, yet you must mention that you have a policy for this. So please, next time if you are preparing even the small companies, the non-company assessees balance sheet, the disclosure of accounting policy, जो first notes to account होता है after the balance sheet and P&L, उसमें ये सारे accounting policies with relevant standards जो मैंने दिए हैं यहाँ पे, don't quote the standard, but what is the company's or the entity's policy with regards to these expenses or these items must be given. Next, with regards to AS1, here again, somebody has mentioned accounting policy on revenue. क्या लिख दिया? Revenue is recognized on accrual basis, and for transmission of power, it is recognized based of tariff order notified by appropriate authority. Now, this cannot be a policy. Policy क्या होना चाहिए? मैं कब revenue recognize करूंगा? When risk and reward is transferred, it is then that I recognize revenue. So your policy must not only be present for all the standards that we've discussed, but also must clearly distinguish and state आप किस circumstance में कैसे revenue account करते हो. Subsidies granted by government are recognized as operating income in accordance with relevant terms and condition of scheme and arrangement. काफी लोग लिखते हैं revenue is recognized as per contract between two parties. Sir, how will the user of financial statement know what is the contract between two parties? You cannot have such a policy. Policy has to be such that the user of the financial statement, he may be a chartered accountant or not, he must be able to understand कि company revenue कैसे recognize करती है, company provisions कैसे करती है, company employee के expenses कैसे recognize करती है, company क्या चीज capitalize करती है और उसमें depreciation कैसे book करती है. ये चीजें आपकी policy में आना जरूरी है. And therefore, policy must be such that not because that transaction has happened in the year कि इस साल impairment है इसीलिए मैं impairment की policy दूं. Impairment नहीं है तो भी आपको बताना है कि कंपनी हर साल impairment का टेस्टिंग करती है. इस साल impairment का requirement नहीं है, but the fact that you have a policy for it will have to be mentioned. You may not have a contingent liability in this year, but if tomorrow a contingent liability may arise, you have given a bank guarantee or you may give a bank guarantee, and that contingent liability comes to you, that you will disclose, that fact has to be mentioned. So that is with AS1, our basic standard. We now move to AS2. I'll try and very quickly go across to the common errors. And Vivekji, you can notify me when we need to end because I understand the next speaker is going to start. But with regards to the AS2, सबसे common policies मैंने यहाँ list की हैं. लोग लिख देते हैं stock of inventory is valued at cost. Some people mention it is valued at direct raw material cost. Some people mention it is valued at average cost, at material cost, at estimated cost. Sir, this is not permitted. AS2 is very clear and categorical. You have to first mention it is cost or net realizable value, whichever is lower. Market value nahi likhna. Lot of balance sheets that we have reviewed, we see people mention cost or market value, whichever is lower. Sir, market value and NRV is not the same. You must mention cost or net realizable value, whichever is lower. Another common error is with regards to the cost formula or the cost principle. People generally only mention inventory is valued at cost or market value, या कुछ लोग NRV लिख देते हैं, whichever is lower, और accounting policy inventory की खत्म हो गई. सर ऐसा नहीं है, आपको cost formula तो देना पड़ेगा. आपने कैसे लिया inventory? FIFO basis पे लिया या weighted average basis पे लिया? As you are aware, LIFO is not permitted. So the fact that you have used FIFO will have to be mentioned कि मैंने raw material लिया और उसमें से जो कंज्यूम हो गया FIFO बेसिस पे मैं उस पे अकाउंटिंग कर रहा हूं, फिनिश गुड्स को मैं कैसे अकाउंट कर रहा हूं. सो योर पॉलिसी विद रिगार्ड्स टू योर रॉ मटेरियल्स, योर वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस, योर फिनिश गुड्स all have to be separately disclosed. And like I mentioned, the fact that whether this has been done on FIFO or standard costing, that is weighted average basis, that will have to be given in the AS2. तो AS2 के common error क्या हुए? मार्केट वैल्यू हाथ जोड़ के मत लिखिए, NRV यूज करिए, and always include the cost formula. AS1, like I said, don't go by the transactions, go by the essence. If there is a particular amount that has to be accounted for in the future years, It is not there in the current year, yet the policy of it must be disclosed. AS3, which deals with cash flows. Here again, very common error, और अभी हम बैंक ऑडिट के टाइम में उसके लिए I thought this is more appropriate. In the cash flow of a bank, FRRB का एक कॉमन एरर है जो हमने नोटिस किया है, जो इंक्रीज डिक्रीज इन इन्वेस्टमेंट्स है, बैंक का कहीं इन्वेस्टमेंट था और उसमें इंक्रीज डिक्रीज हुआ, इट इज डिस्क्लोज्ड एज कैश फ्लो फ्रॉम ऑपरेटिंग एक्टिविटी एंड सच इन्वेस्टमेंट्स इंक्लूडेड हेल्ड टू मैच्योरिटी इन्वेस्टमेंट, यानी HTM जिसको हम बैंकिंग टर्मिनोलॉजी में बोलते हैं, HTM इन्वेस्टमेंट्स वर शोन एज कैश फ्लो फ्रॉम ऑपरेटिंग एक्टिविटी. नाउ इट इज वेरी क्लियर, सिर्फ परचेज और सेल ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट्स जो अवेलेबल फॉर सेल या जिसे हम हेल्ड फॉर ट्रेडिंग कहते हैं, वो ही ऑपरेटिंग एक्टिविटी में आएगा. क्योंकि बैंक हो या NBFC हो, अगर उसने इन्वेस्टमेंट हेल्ड फॉर ट्रेडिंग किया है, लिया है तुरंत बेचने के लिए, तो ही वो ऑपरेटिंग एक्टिविटी में आता है. अगर HTM है, मतलब मैंने किसी गवर्नमेंट बॉन्ड में इन्वेस्ट किया, which is an HTM, उसका टेन्योर 4 साल 5 साल 6 साल है, and I am holding it till maturity, then my purpose is not to earn operating profit out of it. This will compulsorily fall under cash flow from investing activity. Even for bank or NBFC, it cannot be an operating activity. So just because the nature of entity is different doesn't mean the cash flows में आप उसको operating में ले जाओगे. Lot of companies prefer to show a higher operating cash flow because it signifies a good business performance. But as auditors, we have to be clear, अगर operating cash flow negative हो गया है, immediately it's a going concern issue. आप देखिए कि प्रॉफिट और लॉस में क्या है. अगर कंपनी लॉस कर रही है, अंदर ट्रिगर दैट द कंपनी इज गोइंग कंसर्न में हैव टू बी रेज्ड बाय यू इन द ऑडिट रिपोर्ट. अगर नेटवर्थ पूरा इरोड हो गया है, दीज आर ऑल इंडिकेटर्स ऑफ द गोइंग कंसर्न एंड देयरफॉर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट ऑफ व्हाट वी क्लासिफाई एज एन ऑपरेटिंग कैश फ्लो. अगेन, इन्वेस्टमेंट इन सब्सिडरीज को किसी ने परचेज ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट्स दिखा दिया इन द बैलेंस शीट. Now, if it is relating to purchase of enterprise, it should not be shown as such. In another example, we were reviewing the balance sheet and there is a clear-cut foreign exchange fluctuation amount in the profit and loss amount. P&L के other expenses और administrative expenses के schedule में foreign exchange fluctuation दिख रहा है. And it was not adjusted from the cash flow. Cash flow जब हम शुरू करते हैं net profit as per P&L से, the first adjustment that should happen there is with regards to the foreign exchange fluctuation. And because we looked at the cash flow at the adjustment level in the operating cash flow, there is no effect given to foreign exchange fluctuation. Now, लॉजिकल बात है कि फॉरेन एक्सचेंज फ्लक्चुएशन का अकाउंट है, तो इसमें रियलाइज्ड और अनरियलाइज्ड दोनों होंगे, और जो अनरियलाइज्ड लॉस है, it has to be adjusted from the operating cash flow as per AS3 because it is unrealized. So this is a common error again noticed in a lot of cash flow preparations. Same cash and cash equivalents में exchange rate difference दिख रहा है, यानी foreign exchange currency में आपकी client के पास assets हैं, then you will have to give the reconciliation of exchange rates in the cash flow. One important example, non-financial enterprise में, यानी NBFC नहीं है, under the heading financing activity, interest net करके दिया गया है. Now here again, if you look at the para 30 of AS3, the cash flow of interest income, जो इंटरेस्ट की इनकम आई है इन्वेस्टमेंट एक्टिविटी की वजह से और इंटरेस्ट एक्सपेंस हुआ है, उसे आपको नेट ऑफ नहीं कराना. इंटरेस्ट इनकम इज फ्रॉम योर इन्वेस्टिंग एक्टिविटी एंड योर इंटरेस्ट एक्सपेंस इज योर फाइनेंसिंग एक्टिविटी. सो इनकम हैज टू बी शोन इन इन्वेस्टिंग. एज यू आर अवेयर, कैश फ्लो इज 3 पार्ट: ऑपरेटिंग, इन्वेस्टिंग एंड फाइनेंसिंग. Income will form part of the investing activity. and expense will be part of the financing activity. Lot of people are making the error of showing interest expense net, which is not permitted as per para 30 of the AS3. And even in the case of dividend, अगर dividend distribution tax है, both dividend and dividend distribution tax have to together be shown as cash flow from financing activity. आप इसको operating में नहीं ले जा सकते हो. Dividend distribution tax and the amount of dividend both go together and both have to be shown in the cash flow from financing activity. Due to the shortage of time, I'll be quickly going over the changes. Of course, maximum errors that one sees is in the AS3 cash flows, and therefore, like I said, I will share the entire presentation with Vivek ji so that he can share it with all the members. One again very common error, आपको surprise लगेगा जान के, but cash and cash equivalents की amount in the balance sheet and the cash and cash equivalents at the end of the year in the cash flow, both amounts don't tally. So many balance sheets that we have reviewed, there's a different amount in the balance sheet, different amount in the cash flow statement. Members say कि हाँ वो staff ने कर दिया, article की गलती हो गई. Sir, cash balance और bank balance एक ही financial statement में दो जगह पे अलग कैसे हो सकता है? और मजे की बात ये है, today when you have XBRL filing, people have issued the balance sheet, signed, scanned, submitted, and when they go for XBRL filing, the XBRL system automatically picks up that these two cannot be different, and people change the XBRL statement without thinking कि मैंने जो signed copy दी है उसमें तो मैंने change ही नहीं किया, and here also a lot of issues are raised. So please always cross tally these items which are part of your financial statements. Here again, one common error, fixed asset lost due to robbery. Yeah, fixed asset which was destroyed. और इसको लोगों ने cash flow from investing activity में adjust किया है. This is a non-cash transaction. It has no place at all in the cash flow statement and must be excluded from it. You cannot have these items in your cash flow. So non-cash items do not form part of your cash flow. किसी ने loan repayment or loan disbursed, these have been shown in the financing activities. Here, loans made and repayment thereof have to be classified as cash flow from operating activity and not financing activity because the company's nature has to be looked at. So with this, some major non-compliances with relating to the cash flow statement, like I discussed, cash and cash equivalents, what should form part of operating, what should form part of the investment activity, and what should form part of the financing activity. Please be clear. Try and tally the amounts and agree them. अगर foreign exchange fluctuation है, तो please ensure that it is getting adjusted from the net profit. AS4 deals with contingencies and events occurring after the balance sheet date. Again, only one error that I can share with you, but sometimes there are issues and we end up writing these notes, which I would request all of you not to do. In one of the balance sheet, it was written that कब तक किया, events occurring after the balance sheet date, up to the date of finalization of accounts. Bhaiya, what is the date of finalization of accounts? There is no term as finalization of account date in the act or in our audit procedure. You have to review it until the date of your auditor's report. That is to say the day the board has approved the financial statement. So for AS4, for events occurring after the balance sheet date, as you are aware, the standard gives adjusting event and non-adjusting event. Agar adjusting event hai, so please mention that you have reviewed it through the date of your auditor's report. Because auditor's report and finalization of account, किसी ने देख के बोल नहीं सकता कि वो same है या नहीं है. It may be construed that you are trying to get away from the responsibility कि 31st मार्च की बैलेंस शीट थी, हमने जून में ही अकाउंट्स फाइनल कर दिए, साइन सितंबर होते होते हो गया, and therefore July, August, September में अगर कोई event occurring after the balance sheet day है, you have not adjusted for it. That cannot be done. Your event occurring after the balance sheet date has to be up to the date of auditor's report. Construction contract. Vivek ji, I would request you to please let me know how much time do I have so that we can take up the session accordingly. Vivek ji, assume I have some time before the next faculty goes, so I will continue with these common errors standard by standard. Again, AS7, a very common mistake that is being made by members, by preparers of financial statements and auditors who are not pointing out to these non-compliances. AS7, construction contract. Now look at the note. Job work revenue is accounted on the basis of running bills. यानी RA bills के basis पे revenue recognition कर दिया. Or expenditure is accounted on accrual basis, as and when it is incurred. Absolutely in non-compliance of the AS7. The standard very clearly, para 21 of the AS7 says that both revenue and expense, that is the cost, have to be based on the stage of completion of the contract. 10 crore ka contract hai, 40% is complete, your revenue will be 4 crores, your projected cost is, let's say, 8 crores, and that is completed to, let's say, 30%, then 2.4 crores is expense. That is how you will have to account for your construction contract. You have all seen at the AS7, there is a illustration given of how the expense and revenue has to be accounted for. Even the guidance note, which is issued for specific to real estate industry, there also this entire disclosure that has to be given and how measurement has to be done for construction contracts is given. Please, if you have any clients relating to construction, always follow the AS7 requirement. And the para 39 of AS7 mandates that you have to make 3 compulsory disclosures: the aggregate amount of cost incurred and recognized profit up to the reporting date. You will have to include it in your notes to account. If there are any advances received from, let's say, your customers or the client, that amount of advances has to be separately disclosed. And if there are any retention amounts that have been kept, those amounts of retentions also have to be clearly disclosed. So this is with regards to the AS7. Now, to one of the most important standards, but a very common, very, I would say, basic standard which deals with any enterprise that you are auditing. It may be of any nature: banking, non-banking, finance, non-finance, manufacturing, trading, IT, services. किसी में भी चले जाए, एक स्टैंडर्ड जो सबसे कॉमन है वो है revenue recognition, AS9, very basic standard. And here again, the highest non-compliances with regards to the main principles of revenue recognition. And service industry में revenue recognition के लिए जो para 7 बात करता है, there again there are a lot of errors that have been made. What are some of the errors? Let's try and understand. किसी कंपनी ने बैलेंस शीट में क्या दिखाया है? इनकम फ्रॉम एडवर्टाइजमेंट एंड टिकट सेल्स, और उसकी अकाउंटिंग पॉलिसी क्या लिखी है? रेवेन्यू फ्रॉम सेल ऑफ टिकट्स इज रिकॉग्नाइज्ड व्हेन टिकट्स हैव बीन सोल्ड. कोलकाता में बात कर रहा हूं, ईडन गार्डन्स का घर है. नाउ ऑफ कोर्स फ्रॉम अहमदाबाद आई कैन प्राउडली स्टेट दैट वी हैव नाउ द लार्जेस्ट cricket stadium in the world, not just the country. So I think 2 cities which understand sale of tickets very clearly and have a very good cricketing and sports culture. So क्या किया कंपनी ने? Revenue from sale of tickets is recognized when tickets have been sold, or advertisement is recognized when advertisements and net realizations are confirmed. Now tell me, is this a correct accounting policy to recognize revenue when tickets are sold? Absolutely not, right? Because if I sell a ticket today, it may be, let's say, for a sports event, for a concert, or for any other purpose, and subsequently that event gets cancelled. Then, in fact, you have to understand that there is always a timing difference between the sale of the ticket, that is a rendering of services, and when the actual event has happened. So, whenever there is an advance booking of tickets, there is always a time gap between sale of tickets and the actual event. Such revenue can never be considered to have been earned until the event takes place. So if you have sold tickets and you book the entire revenue, let me give you an example of the T20 in Ahmedabad recently held. Tickets for all 5 T20s were sold. And if the BCCI had, let's say, recognized the entire revenue, कि book my show पे ticket बिक गई, पैसा बैंक में जमा आ गया, book revenue, और बीच में year end आ गया. And then because of COVID, the last 3 matches, they had to cancel the audience and refund the amount. Then it would be a blunder that all sales are recognized simply on the basis of sale of tickets, because there is a difference of timing between the sale, physical sale of ticket, or the online sale of ticket, and the event when it is happening. So not just the timing difference which has to be set, but policy भी crystal clear और categorical होनी चाहिए. आप revenue को कैसे recognize करते हैं when risk and reward is transferred. Similarly, in today's age, very important, because we are in the era of online education. किसी ने fees ले ली, subscription fee or online education की fee, or recognized upon receipt of such fees. If this is the policy, it is absolutely wrong. You cannot recognize simply because you have charged. अगर आपने कोई 6 महीने का कोर्स है, 15 मार्च को पैसे ले लिए, and the course is going to go on for a period of, let's say, 6 months, then only 15 days, that is the time apportioned period which falls in the current reporting period, should be charged or should be recognized as revenue. The balance is advance, and therefore you cannot recognize revenue simply on the receipt basis. It has to be only on the basis of time proportion and the fact that they are recognized and apportioned over the service period as required by the standard para 7.1 will have to be mentioned. Again, a very common error that is being made with regards to insurance claim. One policy that we saw was जहां लिख दिया कि insurance company में claim file हुआ है, and on the basis of the claim that is filed, the revenue was recognized. You cannot recognize revenue simply because your client has filed a claim. अगर उसकी measurability appropriate है या नहीं है, ये claim कंपनी ने या इंश्योरेंस कंपनी ने एक्नॉलेज किया है, and it can be measured reliably, only then insurance claim income can be booked. Otherwise, it is not possible for you to book this income. So please ensure these important paragraphs of the standards which deal with the recognition of revenue are complied with. The age-old principle of AS9, which states that risk and rewards are transferred and they can be measured reliably. Only those have to be recognized. Similarly, in the case of dividend, लोग लिख देते हैं dividend is accounted as and when received. All incomes on accrual, dividend on cash basis. No. AS9 para 13 requires that it has to be recognized when the right to receive the payment is established. That is the requirement of AS9. Very important concept. Still, we are seeing in many small company balance sheets, log लिख देते हैं, dividend is recognized on cash basis, other revenue on accrual basis. Not allowed. The para 11 of AS9 बहुत clearly बोलता है, when the enterprise has transferred significant risk and reward to the buyer, तभी आपको revenue recognize करना है. With this, I have tried to cover the basic accounting standards which deal with in our day-to-day practice. I will now, in the next 5 minutes that I have, try and deal with the other important non-compliances that one has noticed at FRRB. AS11 deals with foreign exchange, something which will not be very common and applicable here, so I'll not discuss this. मैं विवेक जी के साथ presentation share करूंगा. Definitely we'll be happy to have discuss any questions with you. AS15, just 2 minutes on this standard. This standard is with regards to employee benefits. ये long term benefits या retirement benefits के लिए सीमित नहीं है. In 2008, this was changed, and this standard now talks about all employee benefits. So short-term benefits, salary, PF, ESIC, उसको भी आप कैसे account करते हो, आपको वो भी mention करना है. In case there are a provident fund which is funded with LIC, you cannot simply state that it is accounted on accrual basis. The actuarial valuation will have to be sought if that is applicable, and you have to recognize on the basis of a defined contribution plan. The standard has two concepts of defined benefit plan and defined contribution plan, and please ensure that based on the defined benefit plan or defined contribution plan, you are accounting for it as per para 47. Project unit credit method, very important terminology. Please ensure आपके AS15 के disclosure में you are clearly mentioning that it is using the project unit credit method to determine the present value of the defined benefit obligation. That is mandatory by the standard. There are other various actuarial methods to do it, but para 65 of AS15 requires you to only and only measure it as per the project unit method. So this is with regards to AS15. Borrowing cost, we have discussed at the beginning also. Here, for example, it has been mentioned that interest, including interest on discounting bills, are not included in the finished goods. So very clear, AS16 borrowing cost talks about capitalizing interest on whom? On qualifying asset. Qualifying asset कौन सा होता है? जिसको substantial period of time लगता है ready होने के लिए. Inventories are not a substantial, they do not take substantial period of time. They are not a qualifying asset. So therefore, you cannot capitalize interest in the case of inventories. Very important, para 12 of AS2 read with para 5 of AS16. So borrowing cost कब capitalize होगा? Only if you have a qualifying asset, that is to say, एक asset जिसको 1 साल से ज़्यादा time लगता है. AS17 deals with segmental reporting. Again, 2 segments. Last standard that I would take up today, because the rest are not related to the SME and MSME practice and the SMP. Yahan there are, AS17 has concept of 2 segments, the business segment and the geographical segment. In many balance sheets that we review, director's report में लिखा है, the company has phenomenal export growth this year. In the sales, you are showing export sales. But when we look at the segment reporting, it is stated that और कोई segment company ने identify नहीं किया है, and therefore no segment reporting is done. भैया business का segment नहीं है, but geographical segment तो है. There is a domestic sale and there is an export sale, which is clearly evident from both the balance sheet, the P&L rather, from the income statement, and also from the director's report. So in such cases, again, my request is please always ensure that whatever we are reporting, wherever we are giving an opinion, an auditor is mentioning is in his report, always reconcile your numbers, your disclosures with what is given in the director's report. Director's report बात कर रहा है export sales का, P&L में दिख रहे हैं export sales, and in segment reporting you are stating there are no segments to report. Other such cases, and I'm sure the incoming faculty Pramod ji will discuss them. In going concern, we look at a balance sheet. Director's report में लिखा है the company's future is bleak, sales are minimal, market is tough, और आपने क्या किया? कोई going concern issue नहीं raise किया. Again, here very difficult for us to audit as auditors then to justify why going concern issue is not raised. Therefore, with this, I would put an end to my presentation and my discussion and deliberation today. I hope we were able to discuss the very recent changes in accounting standard applicability, the level 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is being made effective from today. The changes that are coming in from the Schedule 3 perspective, the revised general instructions issued by MCA for preparation of balance sheet, and some common errors that we discussed with regards to the accounting standards which are applicable to all the assessees or to the clients that we are servicing as small and medium practitioners. More importantly, AS 1, 2, 3, 10 or 15 को लेके जो errors थे और 16 को लेके जो errors थे, we have discussed. If there are any questions, you can anytime connect to me offline, email me, WhatsApp me, and I'll be happy to answer them. I once again thank Vivek ji for inviting me, the entire study circle, Ranjit ji and Sushil bhai for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Aniket ji, for the crisp and short deliberation in which you have covered the maximum standards and the common errors. As rightly said, earlier we used to get the direct tax practitioners, we used to get GST practitioner experts, but now assurance is also an expertise job. And you rightly said that we require more quality auditors. और हजारों रुपया का आप audit करके company audit करके कुछ होगा नहीं, because every day when we wake up we think कि मेरा paper में नाम तो नहीं आएगा ना. So that's an important aspect. With this, I would request Tarun Gupta ji to give a formal vote of thanks to you. Tarun ji.
Thank you, Vivek. Am I audible?
Yeah, perfect.
Oh, thank you. I, on behalf of ACAE Chartered Accountant Study Circle, place on record.
तरुण जी आपका आवाज नहीं आ रहा, आप हाँ बोलिए.
Sir, I, on behalf of ACAE Chartered Accountant Study Circle, is my voice clear?
Continue.
Yeah. Place on record our deep sense of gratitude and appreciation to Shri Aniket Talati ji. Sir, before the session started, Ranjit ji and Sushil Goel ji mentioned that you are the brainchild behind popularizing this topic, and that your practical knowledge will be evident in the presentation that you will be doing. Sir, let me tell you, you have done full justice to the topic, and the time invested by all of us today has been quite rewarding. Sir, the points covered by you in updating us with the recent changes in Schedule 3 is really appreciated, because that was an extra that we got. Sir, the points that you mentioned in the presentation on common errors, when we were hearing them, it is so, it is so commonsensical that one should follow these points. But the fact that you are pointing them out, it seems that many of our members are not following that, and that is really a very important thing to point out at the institute level, and I think you are doing a very great job, sir. And I think if all of us as members, when we do our work, professional work, if we look at all the small points, like the first point that you said, that in AS1, if we don't have any assumption or accounting principle for that year, we don't generally mention it in the financial statement, but actually it should be mentioned, and it is such an important point. So if we as members, we look at all these points and try to follow them, I think the quality of the financial statements and the professional practice that enhance, sir. Sir, as a small token of appreciation, we will share a e-memento, sir, with you. Just let me share the screen. Yeah. Yeah, is it visible? Yeah, okay.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you. So we will request you if you can take a color printout of this, frame it and keep it in your chamber. And you can also share it on your LinkedIn profile, WhatsApp, Facebook, Insta, so that we also get due publicity. With these words, sir, thank you so much. I'll stop sharing this, and over to you, Vivek.
Thank you. And I would like to inform Aniket ji that in the month of Jan, we had a 12-hour session on common areas on accounting standard as well, where we had speakers from Big Four and others, and over 4 days, we had 3 hours each, continuous 4-day session on the common areas, so that we can inform our members at large. And you were saying that we have 98, 100 people in an accounting session. At ACAE, we would like to inform that we regularly have sessions on accounting and auditing standards. And during lockdown as well, in the 3 months, we had around 120 sessions in 3 months. So that is what is about ACA Study Circle, sir. Thanks a lot for joining us, Aniket ji. Thanks a lot. We welcome our next speaker, Pramod Jain ji, and I would request President.
Welcome to the platform of ACA, Pramod sir. We are really thankful to you for joining this session on accounting standards, and you have accepted our invitation at first go. That is a very greatness, sir. We welcome to the platform of ACA. Over to convener Vivek.
Thank you, Anup ji. And I would request Pramod Mundra ji to give a formal introduction of our speaker, Pramod Jain ji. Pramod Mundra ji.
Yeah, thank you, Vivek, for giving me a pleasant task of introducing a personality like CA Pramod Jain ji. He is a commerce graduate from Sri Ram College of Commerce. He is also a fellow member of ICAI, fellow member of FCA, Institute of Company Secretaries, and also of Post Accountant Works of India. He is also a Bachelor of Law. He is qualified Information System Audit, DISA, from Institute. He is also a member of All India Management Association. He is also an insolvency professional. Passed a professional self-assessment test for independent directors data bank. He has passed certification course NCFM of National Stock Exchange of India also. He has also done certificate course of CAT of ICI. He has also done post qualification certificate course on valuation of ICI. He has been elected as a council member of ICAI for the period 2019 and 22. Apart from being member of more than 25 committees, groups, directorates of ICAI, he is or was chairman of Committee on International Taxation for 2021-22, chairman of Taxation Audit Quality Review Board for the year 21-22, chairman of Valuation Standard Board for the year 2020-21, chairman of CSR Committee of ICAI for 2021. Is vice chairman of Committee on MSME and the Startup for the year 2021-22. Is the vice chairman of Women's Members in for the year 2021-22. Is the vice chairman of Direct Tax Committee for the year 1920 and 2021. He is also a member of ICAI Disciplinary Committee Bench 1 for the year 2021. He is also nominated as a member of Quality Review Board for 3 years from 20 to 22. He is also the conceptualizer of the portal www.expertspanel.in, which is one-stop solution for all professional queries, which has given nearly 25,000 answers since its launch in the mid of the year 2018. He has delivered more than 1,300 lectures and articles on various topics of internet, corporate laws, LLPs, audit, peer review, quality review, etc. at more than 200 forums throughout the country. And articles since 2013 are available for free download from www.lunawat.com and 18 at expertspanel.in also. He is a senior partner of Lunawat and Company, Chartered Accountant. He is president, founder, convener, and member of various boards, directorate, committees, study circle, etc. of ICAI, ICSI, and other prestigious bodies. He has been a technical reviewer with FFRV and Quality Review Board, and peer reviewer with Peer Review Board. He has also authored many books like Chartered Accountants Documentation and Compliance for Audits and Reviews, Limited Liability Partnership, a complete resource book, Chartered Accountants Documentation and Compliance of Audit and Review, Importance of LLP after Companies Act 2013, Chartered Accountants Documentation and Compliance under 2000 Companies Act 2013, Peer Review and Quality Review, Limited Liability Partnership, Law, Procedure and Taxation, Documentation for Chartered Accountants, LLP Law and Procedures with ready reckoner, fringe benefit tax and banking transaction tax, documentation for audits and audit standards and cover.
Thank you, Pramod ji. I think his profile is way too
wide
big,
enough.
and ACA knows him because he is
But
regular ACE now. And we are lucky enough to have 4 CCMs with us in today's session. 2 our very own Ranjit ji and Sushil ji, and 2 valuable as our speakers Aniket ji and Pramod ji. Ranjit ji.
Ranjit ji, kindly welcome our Central Council member from Delhi and our own guest speaker. Ranjit ji, are you there?
Yeah.
I want to add what Pramod ji is reading the profile of Pramod Jain. Literally, I will say he's a shopping mall. I will say it is a mall in this sense, auditing, accounting, taxation, whatever you want to know, on replying the members issue, and really he's doing the CSR work. That's why he was made the CSR committee chairman also last year. So all this work he's doing, that's a great CSR activity, but disseminating the knowledge of the. And this year also, Pramod Bhai has become the chairman of international taxation, and this international taxation is a key area of his practice. And Pramod Bhai also help us the alignment of this UDN with the income tax department, and so many good work he has done in the council. So I welcome Pramod Bhai to the Eastern region virtually to deliberate on the subject.
Thank you, Ranjit Bhaiya. Thank you, Ranjit Bhaiya.
सुशील जी बोलेंगे कुछ.
विवेक जी, जस्ट टू ऐड, ये सबसे शॉर्ट इंट्रोडक्शन हो जाएगा प्रमोद जी का. He is the Amazon of knowledge. I think शॉपिंग मॉल से जगह प्रमोद भाई Amazon बोल देते हैं हम इनको.
अरे नहीं भाई.
Thanks a lot. Without further delay, between the delegates and Pramod ji, I would hand over the proceeding to Pramod ji. Pramod ji, take over, because last time people were very affected with your tax
सुशील कुछ बोलेंगे. सुशील भैया.
सुशील भैया, I think he is there.
Yes,
सुशील भैया बोलिए.
प्रमोद जी के लिए ज्यादा कुछ नहीं बोलूंगा. वो जब उनका प्रोफाइल देखते हैं तो आई थिंक डिग्रीज आर इन डबल डिजिट. दैट इज द वन क्रेडिट ऑफ डिग्री पढ़ के तो प्रमोद भाई ने बताया हमें, लेकिन वो बीच में टोक दिया आपने कि हम सब जानते हैं, लेकिन जितनी डबल डिजिट में इनकी डिग्री है उनकी डबल डिजिट में उतने पब्लिकेशंस भी हैं. इतनी किताबें उन्होंने, जो पीछे की किताबें आप देख रहे हैं वो खरीद के लाके रखी हुई नहीं है, उन्होंने खुद लिखी है. तो ये प्रमोद भाई साहब का परिचय है. और खाली मैं और लास्ट में एक बात बता दूं, उन्होंने हमको थोड़ा दया करके हमारे ऊपर ओबलाइज करके उन्होंने जीएसटी को खाली अपने एरिया में नहीं इंक्लूड किया है ताकि हमारे जैसे लोग सरवाइव कर सके. तो उसके अलावा बाकी सब वो अमेजन है, लेकिन वो जीएसटी एक्सक्लूड है उसमें. तो you can understand. Now over to Vivek.
Thanks a lot
for accepting our invitation.
Thank you, Sushil Bhaiya. Thank you, Sushil Bhaiya. Over to Pramod ji.
Thanks a lot for the introduction, as well as on the lighter side. So many kind words showered on me by my esteemed colleagues in the council, my senior colleagues in the council from the eastern region, both Ranjit Bhai, Sushil Goyal ji, and in absentia our VP sir Devashish Mitra ji. Ranjit Bhai and Sushil Bhai have been helping. We are the new breeds. Aniket and me are the new breeds. In the first term we are here. So they both have been very kind enough to have helped us in a tremendous way whenever we are stuck anywhere. So anywhere we require anything, we just there are just a phone call away. या तो वो आगे बढ़ के कॉल कर लेते हैं या हम आगे बढ़ के कॉल कर लेते हैं. इतना प्यार है दोनों का हमारे ऊपर. उनके लिए मैं बहुत तहे दिल से बहुत धन्यवाद. Thanks a lot, Ranjit Bhai, Sushil Bhai, for always there with us, for always guiding us to the right way. So nice of you, and I congratulate whole of the Eastern region for sending such jewels to the Central Council. 2 terms continuous, all the 3, and I'm expecting the 3rd term also. These 3, they have done a tremendous job. My best wishes to all the 3 who have done a tremendous job. And my co-speaker and another gem of a person and knowledge house, Aniket Talati ji from Ahmedabad, who have been contributing to a great extent. We are again the first timers in the council, and learning from him that how to use the technology and the new things which are coming throughout the world, because he has traveled, though his age is much, he's too young, but the way he has traveled and the experience which he is sharing in the council is really great, Aniket bhai. Just keep it up. Great bhai. My very dear, another friend out here, Raman Khatuwala ji, I've just seen his picture. He's a very dear friend of mine from Delhi. इन्होंने बोला था, he is the regular faculty, I suppose, at your ACAE also. Earlier he was there. Here. Anup Sangai ji, Vivek ji. मैं एक चीज से स्टार्ट करना चाहूंगा जो कि विवेक जी ने बोला. मैं उसके बारे में क्या कहूं और क्या नहीं कहूं. I'm not able to still understand that. The stage has come today that we are saying that now, like GST expert or income tax expert, we should be taking assurance also as a specialized job. जब हम ये कह रहे हैं तो चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंसी तो है ही सिर्फ assurance. And the fact is that yes, today when we are having a seminar on accounting standards, the financial statement changes, the accounting standards overview, auditing standards overview. So we are still at the overview level in the assurance level. We are still at the overview level of at the assurance level. So what about going into dupe as an expert? Are we really thinking? We all think in that way that अगर हम audit कर रहे हैं वो तो हमारे खून में ही है, हमको audit क्या सीखना है. और जो आज अनिकेत भाई ने इतनी सारी चीजें बताई कि हम किस तरह की error we should not do. So yes, we need to understand a lot of things about accounting standards and assurance standard, and we'll be talking about it in the given time slot also. So I'll be sharing a presentation here, and जो भी आपकी queries हो, you can please type on the chat box, right? So we can take care of that. Overview, and we'll be talking about the practical aspects of accounting standard, assurance standard, and we'll be talking about much about the practical things, and I'll be not talking in detail because accounting standards already Aniket bhai has already talked about that. I'll be talking about just an overview overall, and we'll be not going into detail into the standards of auditing and assurance. अगर होगा तो उसकी list देखेंगे, that's all. अगर मैं overall की बात करूं, पहले तो do we understand when we talk about assurances? There are certain frameworks. Just hold, I've got an important call. Just 1 second.
In the meantime, friends, I would like to inform that on 3rd of this month, that is after 2 days, we are having a session on GST at the same time, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Our very own Sushil Goyal ji is one of the speakers, and another speaker from Vadodara, because we have the love of Gujarat. Today we have Aniket ji, and we have other speaker on 3rd, Mr. Abhay Desai ji from Vadodara. So requesting all of you to register for same. We will get the link in the chat box itself, and it will be a very good, articulate, intellectual session on the 3rd on GST. So requesting all of you to please register on it, and don't forget to go through the videos of all the sessions for past 2 years of ACAE at the ACA YouTube channel. So you can visit ACA YouTube channel and go through all the videos, all the sessions if you have missed any. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Vivek. Sorry for the short phone I had to take. When we talk about overall assurances, including my financial statements, there are certain frameworks. What are these frameworks? What is its standing? Are they mandatory? If I talk about from our council, yes, these frameworks are mandatory. And what are these frameworks? These frameworks are for the overall accounting standards, my financial statements. And it says that if later on, based upon these frameworks, certain regulators bring out formats or compliances, then to that extent that framework would not be applicable. Otherwise, those are applicable. I'll give you a very simple example. We have got frameworks for formulation of accounting standards, formulation for Ind AS. We've got framework for the presentation of financial statements. So अगर कोई balance sheet profit loss बनाना है तो it has to be as per the framework issued by ICAI. Mandatory. Now we say Companies Act में Schedule 3 है. Yes. So here when we have got specific under Schedule 3 तो Schedule 3 चलेगा. लेकिन बाकियों के लिए ये framework mandatory है. Framework for the presentation of financial statements. I'm talking about proprietorships, partnerships, LLP, all others. ये framework mandatory है. Are we following it? It is the duty of the auditor when they are auditing to ensure that these frameworks are being complied with. इस framework में एक क्या point है? एक point मैं आपको बताता हूँ जो कि हो सकता है हम comply ना कर रहे हैं. मेरा एक question है यहाँ पे. जो भी आंसर देना चाहे chat box में please type कर दे. In the case of proprietorship partnerships, are we disclosing the previous year figures? क्या हम previous year की figures देते हैं? In proprietorship partnerships जिसका हम audit करते हैं उनके financial statements में do we disclose the previous year figures? Please answer in the chat box. जो भी आंसर देना चाहे. No. कमल सादा जी कह रहे हैं no. मोहित जिंदल जी कह रहे हैं some cases. Normally सुशील जी कह रहे हैं no. You know this framework which is mandatory on the auditors. It says that the previous year figures have to be given. So please see if you have not given for 20, कुछ कर नहीं सकते, but अगर 21 में, विनोद परिवाल जी कह रहे हैं yes, he is giving, that's great. So जो दे रहे हैं very good, जो नहीं दे रहे, so they have to qualify to that extent in their audit report and say, Raman bhai भी कह रहे हैं yes, then they have to say in this case that the assessee has not disclosed the previous year figures, which is in non-compliance with the framework for the presentation of financial statement issued by ICAI. As an auditor, I have to see, एक ये हम लोगों को under which framework? Mohit Jindal ji, I am saying framework for the presentation of financial statement issued by ICAI. Framework for the presentation of financial statements. This is the framework. हम क्या है कि एक तो हम ये समझे ये this assurance है क्या basically? अगर हम बात करते हैं, सोचते हैं कि अगर कोई कंपनीज एक्ट ने कहा, कोई इनकम टैक्स ने कहा, वो ही लॉ है. ऐसा नहीं है. अगर मैं अश्योरेंस, अगर हम अपने इंस्टीट्यूट की बात करें, इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स इंडिया इज आल्सो अंडर अ रेगुलेशन. इट इज अंडर द सीए एक्ट. सो व्हाटएवर द इंस्टीट्यूट सेज, द काउंसिल सेज इज आल्सो लॉ. सो दीज फ्रेमवर्क्स व्हिच हैव बीन इशूड इज अ लॉ. ऐसा नहीं है कि इंस्टीट्यूट इज नॉट एन एसोसिएशन. They are regulator. It is established by special act of parliament. Any amendment is to be there, it goes to the parliament. So these frameworks are regulations, please. So it has to be complied. And on the auditors, it is mandatory. If we don't comply, we have to report. If the assessee is not complying, we have to report in an audit report. So please let us take the various, I would say, pronouncements issued by ICAI in the context where it is important. So for the assurances, these frameworks are important and mandatory, please, right? So the frameworks, one of the important point in the framework, which I just told, that the previous year figures have to be given, and this is given in the framework for presentation of financial statements. You can just type framework for the presentation of financial statement issued by ICAI. You will check into ICAI website, you will find this framework. Right, so these are mandatory. Again, repeating, these frameworks are mandatory. Right now, statements. I'm talking about various pronouncements issued by ICAI. कि किसकी क्या importance है, किसकी क्या mandation किसका है, किसका नहीं है. Statements. Statements are also issued by the council. अगर मैं institute की बात करूं, तो institute consists of council. Then it contains standing committees and non-standing committees. ये standing committee की मैं बात करूं, तो this is under the CA Act mentioned. The three standing committees: execution committee, executive committee, finance committee, and examination committee. And all others are non-standing committee. जो हम ASB की बात करते हैं, double ASB की बात करते हैं, PDC की बात करते हैं, direct tax committee की बात करते हैं. So these are given in the act that they can be formed, right? लेकिन ये जो framework of statements हैं, these are all approved by the council. We'll be talking about which documents are issued by, whether they are issued by committees or councils. So उनकी कितनी importance है, क्या validation. अगर council का कोई statement है, framework है, guidelines है, those all are mandatory. Non-compliance thereof is under my disciplinary action schedule 1, schedule 2, it is there. So I have to comply. So these statements, yes, now the statements are very less. Hardly 2 or 3 statements are there, because earlier the statements were there. Now they have been converted into accounting standards or auditing standards. जो करते गए वो statements को वो वहाँ पे non applicability करते गए. जो statements on कारो है तो वो जो applicable है बस वो वाला applicable है, बाकी right. Then comes the standards. Now standards are again approved by the council. If I talk about accounting standards, if I talk about standards on auditing, they each standard says ये किसको applicable है, कब से mandatory है. Companies Act ने accounting standard अब mandatory किया, right? In the 1956, 2012, something like that. 2006 onwards. उससे पहले भी accounting standard mandatory थे. Standards on auditing mandatory थे. Standards on auditing तो 2013 से आया. So these were under the Companies Act. But ऐसा नहीं है कि Companies Act में आया तभी से mandatory है. For the chartered accountants who are into practice and doing the audit, it was already mandatory when the standards told. So we need to understand when the council issues such standards, framework, or statements, these are mandatory. Audit chartered accountants have to comply with it. Now there are other standards also, like there are ICI we call that valuation standard, ICI valuation standards, 2018. So these are mandatory for the RVOs who are chartered accountants, not others. So uske liye mandatory hai. Then there are internal auditing standards. These are not mandatory. वो standard में mentioned है. These are currently voluntary. Then there are standards for local bodies. So various standards are being issued, and each standard says which is mandatory, which is not. So when we are talking about, when Aniket told earlier, these accounting standards, yes, those all are mandatory and they have to be complied, even in case my assessee is a proprietorship, partnership, or LLP. Companies ke andar, of course, we have got the Companies Accounting Standard Rule 2006. But otherwise also these standards are mandatory. These have the full approval of the council. Standards are not notified. These 3 are not notified under the council approves it. And this is mandated by, again, I'm repeating, let us not think ICI is just an association, kuch bhi ho jayega. No, it has to be as per the Chartered Accountants Act 1949, read with its regulations. These are all law. No one can change it like that. It has to go to MCA to get it amended, right? Guidance note, again, when we talk about various publications which are issued by ICI, guidance note kaise issue hota hai? And for that matter, let me take the technical guides. बहुत सारे technical guide भी issue होते हैं. ये guidance note, technical guide prepare होते हैं non-standing committees के. So how that is prepared? I am talking about first guidance note. ये guidance note तब तैयार होते हैं. ये एक जो भी कमिटी है, चाहे ASB है, चाहे डबल ASB है, चाहे DTC है, चाहे मैं कहूँगा गाइडेंस नोट ऑन टैक्स ऑडिट, गाइडेंस नोट ऑन बैंक ऑडिट, है ना, अभी बैंक ऑडिट भी आया. ये गाइडेंस नोट तैयार कैसे होते हैं? These are first prepared, given to some groups by the relevant committee, relevant board. These groups finalize it, then it goes to the relevant board or committee. When it goes to the relevant board or committee, the board or committee approves it. then it is given to all council members. And after their approval, it is placed as an agenda item in the council. And when the council approves, then a guidance note can be issued. Otherwise, a guidance note cannot be issued. So once it is approved by the council, it gets the legal backing. So a guidance note is as mandatory as, and though it says guidance note, but guidance note is approved by the council. Hence, it has got a very legal sanctity. Technical guide, it doesn't go to the council. Technical guide is issued by the committee itself. So to that extent, technical guide is a guidance. You may vary it if you have a different view, but guidance note, even if you see guidance notes have been quoted at various judgments, case laws. Either it is an income tax or assurance, wherever it is, they are being quoted and held that agar ICI ki guidance note mein ye likha hai, so it has got that value just because it is approved by the council and it is a guidance, right? Technical guide यहाँ तक सारा का सारा काउंसिल में रहता है, इसके नीचे वाले कमिटीज इशू करते हैं, which are not mandatory but recommendatory, but still they have got the value in the court because it issues. And अगर technically कुछ गलत है तो बात अलग है, otherwise it goes there. Technical guide, clarifications. If some clarification is issued on a standard or a guidance note, then it has got the same value. Otherwise, clarifications are issued by the various committees. Various practice manuals are issued. Various case studies are issued. Other materials are issued, handbook, and all those things. So these are not binding, but these are binding. So please, at the time of assurance and other services, we have to be very, very careful. तो पूरे हमारे जो ये इतने सारे pronouncement, सारे documents, books है, जो भी ये issue होती, the statement framework, guidance notes, all these have got such backing. So let us understand this, right? हमारा audit का main objective क्या होता है? Audit का main objective अगर मैं को बात करूं,
Pramod Jain sir, your voice has suddenly got muted. Sir Pramod Jain ji. Sir, we can't hear you. Pramod Jain ji, our office is trying to call you just to speak to you. In the meantime, if there is any technical issue, you can maybe log off once and log in back. Friends, our office is trying to contact Mr. Pramod Jain. Please be with us. I think he is facing some technical issue. We are getting in touch with him. Thank you. Friends, here Pramod Jain ji has logged out because of some technical issue. He joined back. CA Pramod Jain ji, sir, you have been made co-host. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
वो पिछले पीछे से शायद कोई डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया था कुछ.
Okay, sir. No issue, sir. Sir, you can please continue, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Just coming back. So please take care that this preparation of the notes to the accounts, balance sheet, profit loss, cash flow statement, everything is of the management, the assessee. Mine is only auditor's report. तो अगर वो फ्रेमवर्क पिछले साल की फिगर्स डिस्क्लोज नहीं कर रहा प्रोप्राइटरशिप पार्टनरशिप एलएलपी में, then I cannot force him, but I can put that in my auditor's report that the assessee has not disclosed the previous year figure, which is not in compliance with the framework for the presentation of financial statement issued by ICI. That's all. My report is that I have to give the fact, nothing more than that. Right? Now, here today we have let us talk about this slide just to make the understand what is a profession, and 3 sections I'll be talking about: 44 AA, 44 ADA, 194J, and 4 sections 44 AB, just to understand कि हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं क्या नहीं कर रहे हैं. And this slide I have deliberately added amidst the accounting standards and standards on auditing over. What is a profession? कब मेरे को 44 ADA लगेगा, कब नहीं लगेगा, कब बुक्स मेंटेन करनी है, कब नहीं करनी है. हम ये सोचते हैं कि अगर मेरा क्लाइंट को 44 ADA एप्लीकेबल होगा तो उसको बुक्स मेंटेन नहीं करनी. ऐसा नहीं है. 44 AA contains the provisions where books are to be maintained. So उसके अंदर 4-5 subsections हैं, but first subsection is subsection 1, which talks about the profession which have been specified. So we doctor, engineer, accountant, all those have been specified. So that is the specified profession read with the rule 6F, where it says the books are mandatory if my gross receipt is more than 1.5 lakhs. So if my chartered accountant, advocate, company secretary, or interior decorator, they are having 20 lakh rupees of gross receipt, going for 44 ADA, disclosing income of 15 lakhs, books of accounts required? Yes, it is required. Yes, it is required. But what is required? My cash book. In case of accrual basis journal, then what is required is ledger. What is required under is my invoices, my bills, incoming and outgoing, copies of that. तो मैं करूंगा क्या? ये जो मेरा कैश बुक और लेजर बनेगा, ये जितना मेरा एक्सपेंडिचर है वो दिखा दूंगा मैं एक्सपेंडिचर में. That's all. I need not, when I go under income tax, the purpose to maintain the books which have been defined for the specified profession is so that the assessing officer is able to determine compute my income, so that it can be assessed. Nothing more than that. So books required, yes, but only for this specified profession. For doctors, the register of patients and all that has been given. If I talk about subsection 2, it doesn't talk about the books. Books are to be maintained in such a way that the assessing officer is able to determine compute the income under this act. Subsection 2, subsection 1 talks about professions specified which are there. Engineer, doctor, medical, all those. Subsection 2 talks about both other than subsection 1 profession as well as business. Both. So profession is covered in 1 as well as 2. But 1 is specified. 2, it is not specified. So what is the requirement? Here in this case, for individual and HUF, if my sales turnover of gross sales is exceeding 25 lakhs or profit 2.5 lakhs, then I have to maintain books. And for others, if my gross receipt or turnover is more than 10 lakhs and profit 1.2 lakhs. For individual HUF, only 25 lakhs is given. In this case, I have to maintain books, otherwise not. So my profession is given in this subsection 1, which is specified, as well as subsection 2. And what my section 44 ADA says, 44 ADA says only and only कौन अवेल कर सकता है? जो कि 44 AA1 के अंदर कवर्ड है, 2 वाला नहीं. यानी ये जो नोटिफाइड है इसके अलावा 44 ADA कवर्ड ही नहीं है. ऐसा नहीं है कि मेरा 194J कट में TDS कट जाएगा, किसी ने काट लिया तो सीधा के सीधा वो मेरा प्रोफेशन हो गया. For 44 ADA, please understand, only 44 AA1, nothing else. Nothing else. Right? फिर मेरा 194J, हमको तो 194J में TDS कट गया तो मेरा प्रोफेशन हो गया. No, my 194J talks about profession. It talks about fee for technical services. It talks about royalty. It talks about director fee. It talks about the non-compete fee. इन सब पे 194J लगता है. और 194J में प्रोफेशन है वो डिफाइंड है. What does it say? सेक्शन 44 AA1 वाला दोनों स्पेसिफाई कर रखे हैं वो, प्लस 44 AA1 प्लस एनीथिंग विच इज नोटिफाइड अंडर दिस सेक्शन. तो क्या ऐसा कोई स्पेसिफाइड प्रोफेशन है जो कि 44 AA1 में नहीं है बट 194J में प्रोफेशन है? वो वाला प्रोफेशन जो 194J में है वो सबसेक्शन 2 में कवर होगा, 1 में नहीं होगा. कटेगा उस पर भी TDS 10%. यस, नोटिफाइड है, दीज आर स्पोर्ट्स पर्संस. So I have to be very careful and understanding. Yes, it is a bit complicated, I understand. जब कुछ टाइम पहले मैंने भी इस पे वर्किंग की थी तो I was also confused. I had to look here and there, ये सेक्शन वो सेक्शन यहाँ पे. But yes, 44 AB की बात करता हूँ, वो स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड सिर्फ प्रोफेशन की बात करता है. 44 AB में 50 लाख से क्रॉस ऑडिट. 44 ABD, 44 ADA में अगर आपने नहीं दिखाया 50% या उससे ऊपर का प्रॉफिट तो ऑडिट अंडर 44 ABD. लेकिन इसके अंदर सिर्फ 44 AA1 वाले कवर. प्लीज यहां तक किसी इस पे कोई किसी का क्वेश्चन? Mohit question is yes, because when you are auditing, then the framework is same for the presentation of financial statements. So if they are not giving, then I have to just mention in my report, that's all. A profession पे किसी का कोई issue? Any question on the profession? चलिए आगे चलते। हाँ 44 ADA पे क्या है मोहित जी बोलिए। या तो अनम्यूट करके बोलिए या टाइप कीजिए। Now, two questions out there. Kirti ji ka hai, would chess classes be covered in profession? No, it is not profession. 44 AA1 के अंदर specified profession में तो है नहीं, right? 44 ADA में नहीं जा सकते। मोहित जिंदल जी कहना है directly show income as 5 lakh without making any actual expenditure. If there is you have received 5 lakhs and not a single expenditure, no issues. Declare 5 lakh as total income. You can declare. For receipt of 10 lakhs, you need to prepare the books of accounts now. You need to prepare books of accounts. In 44 ADA, I'm talking about now. You have to prepare books of accounts. यही तो बताया मुझे अभी. So your fund flow will have to be there. Your funds flow should not say that your funds in the bank is 10 lakh. It has to be 5 lakhs. Then only you can say it. Okay, great. Chal. Accounting standards, just this is a repetition entities जिनको accounting standards follow करने हैं। अगर companies की बात करूं, and other than companies में, yes, please take care. It is companies accounting standard rules 2006. It is not accounting standard issued by ICI. Notes check कर लीजिएगा क्योंकि notes copy paste करने की आदत है। अगर 250 करोड़ से नीचे की नेटवर्क की कंपनी है मेरी, तो मेरे को अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड जो एप्लीकेबल होंगे वो कंपनीज अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड रूल्स 2006, नॉट इंड एस, नॉट अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड इशूड बाय आईसीआई। कंपनीज के अंदर ऑफ कोर्स देन आई हैव इंड एस, एंड ऑफ कोर्स फॉर कंप्यूटेशन ऑफ इनकम इट इज माय आईसीडीएस, एंड अदर देन कंपनीज जो अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड इशूड बाय आईसीआई है। I have to refer when I say that the SSE is complying, the entity, the individual firm is complying with the accounting standard, then I have to say accounting standard issued by ICI. In companies, I have to say accounting standard issued, notified under section 133 of the Companies Act, that is Companies Accounting Standard Rule 2006. There cannot say accounting standard issued by ICI, though the difference between these two may be minimum, hardly one, but yes, there is a difference. So I have to be very careful, and of course ICDS तो यहाँ पर भी। तो ये नोट्स के अंदर मेरे को प्रॉपरली ध्यान रखना है, कंप्लाई करने के लिए। Now my Companies Act 2013 says, ये पहले नहीं था, 1956 एक्ट से आया, और सॉरी 1956 एक्ट में नहीं था, 2013 के एक्ट से आया, that my financial statement has to be accounting standard compliant. पहले भी था, now but it says, what does it says? That if it is not, then my financial statement is to disclose deviation from the AS, and it has to give the reason for the deviation and the financial effect of arising out deviation. मान लीजिए, and SSC is not providing for making provision for gratuity AS 15. मैं अपने auditors report में लिखूंगा, वो तो है ही है, but the company is also mentioned into its notes to the accounts. कर रहे हैं कि नहीं कर रहे? whether it is AS2, whether it is AS9, whether it is AS10, whether it is AS15, जो भी mandatory. This is only in the case of companies, right? कि notes में भी देने, non-compliance along with the revision for the deviation, financial effect arising out of deviation. And in case the company is not doing it, then managing director, whole-time director in charge of finance, CFO, any other person charged by the board, अगर ऐसा कोई specific नहीं है, all directors imprisonment up to 1 year or fine 50,000 to 5 lakh rupees or both. कितना ग्रेव है उस पर डिपेंड करेगा. मिनिमम 50,000 तो लगेगा ही फाइन. Please take care. Such is the importance of accounting standard compliance. Then auditor की duty है to report that the financial statement are accounting standard compliant. That is under 143(3)(e). Financial statement are AS compliant, ये उसको भी report करना. And in this case, non-compliance fine 147. Auditor के ऊपर minimum 50,000 or 5 lakh rupees or 4 times of the remuneration, whichever is less. Minimum 50,000. Willful intention to deceive company or its shareholder or creditors willful है तो आपको up to 1 year imprisonment. Minimum 50,000, 25 lakh or 8 times of the remuneration, whichever is less. ये शायद कुछ कम हुआ है, चेक करना पड़ेगा. But yes, fine is there on the auditors also if it is non-FS, non-AS compliant on both, right? Plus NAFRA, plus ICI, disciplinary committee. जहां पर नफरा लग गया वहां ICI नहीं आएगा, लेकिन नफरा तो बहुत कम केसेस में ही है ना. मैक्सिमम केसेस में तो ICI की DCE चलेगी ना. आज की डेट में ये सिचुएशन है. सो प्लीज टेक केयर. एक अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड्स के हिसाब से नोट्स में डिस्क्लोजर देना है. क्या पहले तो कि क्या आपकी कंपनी SMC है कि नॉन SMC है, उसके हिसाब से एक डिस्क्लोजर की रिक्वायरमेंट है. If your company is SMC, in that case, you have to give a disclosure. Now it is MSME or non-SME for non-corporate. Otherwise, SMC, non-SMC companies के केस में क्या करना है आपने कि एक नोट देना है आपने as it is. वो मैं आपको नेक्स्ट स्लाइड में बताऊंगा क्या वर्डिंग है. AS1 पॉलिसी इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इन माय व्यू. आपको जो जो असेसी को स्टैंडर्ड्स एप्लीकेबल हैं उन सब की पॉलिसीज का डिस्क्लोजर एक जगह करना है, जैसे हम कईयों के नहीं करते. फॉर एग्जांपल बोरिंग कॉस्ट, प्रोप्राइटरशिप, पार्टनरशिप कंपनी सबने लोन ले रखे होते हैं, डायरेक्टर पार्टनर सब. तो क्या बोरिंग कॉस्ट की पॉलिसी आपने डिस्क्लोज की है? प्लीज चेक. जो जो भी स्टैंडर्ड एप्लीकेबल हैं 29 में से वो you have to see that its disclosure is properly made at one place. This my AS1 says, which we say significant accounting policies. हम proprietorship partnership में क्या करते हैं? हम तो 4 disclosure देते हैं कि mercantile accrual system को follow कर रहे हैं, figures at cost, depreciation as per income tax act, that's all, and inventory at cost or NRV whichever is lower, that's all. उसके अलावा तो कुछ देते ही नहीं. उन सब में भी सारी पॉलिसीज जानी, उन सब में भी सारी पॉलिसीज जा रही. क्या आप इन द केस ऑफ प्रोप्राइटरशिप पार्टनरशिप यू डिस्क्लोज? हम लोग क्या उसमें नोट्स टू अकाउंट्स में कुछ दे रहे हैं प्रोप्राइटरशिप पार्टनरशिप के केस में? वी आर गिविंग ऑल अकाउंटिंग पॉलिसीज. प्लीज आंसर इन द चैट बॉक्स. आर वी डिस्क्लोजिंग? In case of proprietorship partnerships, in the notes to accounts, आप अनिरुद्ध जी, are we disclosing related party transactions AS18? विकास जी कह रहे हैं, पटवारी जी कह रहे हैं नहीं. No. Are we disclosing related party transactions? No. Because it is not 48 to be. Raman bhai कह रहे हैं yes. एक छोटा सा चेंज आया इस साल, वो आपको बताऊंगा मैं रमन भाई। बाकी जो नहीं कर रहे, यस टू एन एक्सटेंट इट इज मैंडेटरी। वो मैंडेटरी कहाँ चेंज आया मैं आपको भी बताता हूँ, बट यस दीज आर ऑल रिक्वायर्ड। यस कि कौन कौन सी कंप्लायंस है वो सब करना पड़ेगा। Comparative figures we have talked initially at the time of framework itself, right? Notes for non-corporates we have discussed that. The disclosure which I was talking about, the SMC disclosure, this is the exact paragraph you have to mention if your company is SMC in your notes to the accounts. The company is a small and medium-sized company as defined under the general instruction in respect of accounting standard notified under the Companies Act 2013. Accordingly, the company has complied with accounting standard as applicable to small and medium-sized company. This is given in the general instruction itself. कि ये paragraph आप अपने notes में डालिए, wording वहीं से दे रखी है। वहाँ बस 1956 है जिसको मैंने 2013 किया। For other than companies, 2-year wait for change from non-SM to SMC. आप अगर आपकी non-SMC है और वो SMC में convert हो गई due to the meeting the criteria, then 2 years continuous disclosure is required. SME, now it is MSME. MSME, you have to say, my level entity is a small and medium enterprise as per the, now it will be micro, small and medium enterprise. As per the announcement made by ACI, as compliant with the accounting standard, falling in level 2, 3 or 4. Level 4, abhi Aniket ji ne bataya, 2, 3 or 4, already it is applicable. I'll be talking in a one slide, what is that? Again, 2-year wait period is there. So, applicability for non-corporates, पहले 3 level थे, अब 4 level हो गए. Existing क्या था? Level 1 का turnover based, more than 50 crores, level 1, now it is more than 250 crores. Level, उसके बाद level 2 था 1 to 50 crores, now it is 50 to 250 crores. And level 3 less than 1 crore, it is now 10 to 50 crores, and level 4 has been created less than 10 crores. So less than 10 crores, and of course my borrowing less than 2 crores. The borrowing limits have also been revised. So instead of 3, now level 4 are there for non-corporates. Corporates के लिए तो SNC और non-SNC है. So now I have to see if my turnover is exceeding 250 crores only, then what are the requirements? Now for this I have to see this. ये भी नो होगा, चेंज कर दूंगा. अभी चेंज किया था इसलिए I have just before joining, because today only the note announcement has come. So cash flow is only for level 1, level 2, 3, 4 not done. तो 50 करोड़ से नीचे पहले ये था, अब नहीं है कैश फ्लो. 6 डेप्रिसिएशन तो खत्म हो ही चुका है, और 10 का नाम प्रॉपर्टी प्लांट एंड इक्विपमेंट है, फिगर सेट नहीं है. So कौन सा स्टैंडर्ड किसको एप्लीकेबल है किसको नहीं है, थ्रू दिस चार्ट. Right, AS 18, I talked about it, not applicable to level 3, level 4. अगर मैं level 3, level 4 की बात करूं AS 18 में, तो मेरा जो 50 करोड़ से ऊपर है सिर्फ उसी में रिलेटेड पार्टी का डिस्क्लोजर करना है. पहले तो ये हर एक केस में करना था, पहले तो ये हर एक केस में करना था. अब 50 करोड़ से ऊपर वाले में आ गया. So this I have to be careful, and this is applicable from for financial year 2021 itself. And borrowing limit is there. 10 crores super borrowing होगी तब. Turnover above 50 crores and turnover above 10 crores, then only AS 18 would be applicable. Disclosure in the notes to the accounts. Right, so this is change from this year. Related party की अगर मैं definitions की बात करूं, then related party हम लोग कई बार सोचते हैं कि हम already दे रहे हैं in tax audit 48(2)B. It is not that way, please. अगर accounting standards की बात करें तो AS 18 है. Companies Act की बात करें तो section 2 subsection 76 है, and that is applicable for section 184 and 188 compliance. और income tax में 48(2)B है. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि जब मैं रिलेटेड पार्टी की यहां डिस्क्लोजर कर रहा हूं तो मैं डेफिनेशन यहां के लिए आई हैव सीन while doing the audit, reviewing the tax audit quality, there is a board, taxation audit quality review board. Ranjit bhai last year chairman the, is saal main chairman, Ranjit bhai vice chairman. So we have seen that for arriving at the related party transaction and 48 2B, they took the definition of accounting standards. In the case of a company, no, not allowed. इसके लिए यही definition, इसके लिए ये definition और इसके लिए ये definition. You cannot interchange. You cannot interchange. Right? AS की classification basis on the disclosure है, recognition है, capital revenue measurement के लिए ये सारे standards और expense income related to principle of prudence 4, 9, 11, 15, 22 और specific है 17, 14, 19, 25. ये चार तरह से AS को classify कर रखा है. I'm not going into detail. These were accounting standards or detail में Aniket sir has already taken it. So I'm not going into standard wise. But when I'm talking about audit, here, there are various types of audit reports. And if I go for the Companies Act, there could be with CARO, with IFC, there could be non-CARO, non-IFC. Right? In case of other acts, it could be tax audit, which the reporting format is under form 3CA, 3CB, or my LLP, or my society. Now, in suppose in an LLP, you have to issue an audit report. तो उसका फॉर्मेट क्या होगा? ये मेरा क्वेश्चन है. अगर LLP में आपने ऑडिट करना है, तो उसका ऑडिट रिपोर्ट का फॉर्मेट क्या होगा? अंग्रेज जो रिलेटेड पार्टी अभी तक नहीं कर रहे थे, तो इस साल तो 50 करोड़ से ऊपर में ही है, थोड़ा रिलीफ मिल गया. उनमें करना, बाकियों में नहीं करना. Yes, my question again, if you have to do the audit of LLP, in that case, what is the format of the audit report? Yes, waiting for your answer on the chat box. Raman ji कहना 3CB. Your view? विकास पटवारी जी का भी कहना 3CB. Do we understand that when I'm talking about audit of LLP, the audit is under the LLP Act. This form 3CB is under the Income Tax Act. और LLP के केस में 3CB लगेगा कि 3CA? अगर LLP एक्ट में ऑडिट होता है तो 3CA लगेगा ना, B क्यों लगेगा? LLP एक्ट में ऑडिट होता है if my turnover is crossing 40 lakhs, तो ऑडिट होगा. गेटिंग? तो LLP एक्ट में जो ऑडिट होना उसका फॉर्मेट क्या होगा? सादा जी कहना 3CA. वो अगेन सर वो इनकम टैक्स में है 3CA, आई एग्री, बट टैक्स ऑडिट के लिए है वो. LLP एक्ट में जो ऑडिट करूंगा उसका रिपोर्ट का फॉर्मेट. यस, मोहित जी इज वेरी राइट. SS 700 रिपोर्टिंग का फॉर्मेट तो है ही SS 700 में ना. तो when you are saying we are chartered accountants, we have got the monopoly to audit the financial statements. No one else can audit the financial statements. So we should be knowing at least what are the formats, how to do an audit. We need to show. Right? So I have to be very, very careful. Okay? Any question on this, please you can ask. right? Going further. So when I'm talking about the company's auditors report, ये ना हम लोग कई बार भूल जाते हैं कि सेक्शन 143(1) के अंदर there are 6 points which is to be reported when the comments are required. हम कहते हैं इसमें है क्या? One is array, you know, when I'm telling you this, there is just wait for a second. Just wait for चलिए वो मैं बाद में देखता हूँ. आपसे बात करते करते एक पॉइंट मेरे ध्यान में आया कि देयर इज वन पॉइंट इन केस ऑफ सब्सक्रिप्शन मनी नॉट कमिंग. सब्सक्रिप्शन मनी था 10 लाख और 31 मार्च तक नहीं आया. दिस क्वेश्चन हैज कम टू मी सेवरल टाइम्स. सो व्हाट इज टू बी डन? वी से 10 लाख रुपया पेड अप था तो 10 लाख रुपया पेड अप कैपिटल दिखाया और 1 लाख रुपया आया था और 9 लाख रुपए पे दिखाया रिसीवेबल. नाउ देयर इज वन क्वेश्चन in this 143(1) whether the amount which for the equity which is said to be received in cash, has the amount come for that? I have to mention that it has not come. I am missing this to report. Another question, if you are not an investment company and you have purchased certain shares, you have invested into shares, have you sold at less than the cost? Have the company shown? इन दोनों के 6 पॉइंट्स हैं. 6 में से कोई भी पॉइंट अगर मेरे को एप्लीकेबल है, कमेंटेबल है, तो मेरे को कमेंट करना जरूरी है. एंड आई हैव सीन पीपल नॉट रिपोर्टिंग दिस. काइंडली सी. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस, यस, एक्चुअली व्हाट वी डू, हम कहते हैं सर ऑडिट रिपोर्ट में कोई चेंज आया नहीं, पिछले साल की कॉपी ली, पेस्ट कर दी. दिस इज अ फैक्ट. We need to improve, please. We need to improve. Read the audit report. Read 143(1). There's 6 points. Apart from this, of course, the 143 9 points, the questions are there which I have to report upon. Then in the rules, 3 points, 2 more points have been now given by this amendment, but that is applicable for financial year ending March 22. Then again, Caro 16 points, Caro 2020, again next year it is there. So I have to be careful upon that, right? IFC की applicability, just for your information, agar if it is a private company which is a OPC, which is a small company, or a private company which has turnover less than 50 crores as per the latest audited financial statement, and aggregate borrowing less than 25 crores, which include from bank, from financial institution or any body corporate, किसी company से भी ले रखा है, then it is exempt. If it is exceeding any of these two, then IFC is required. Now, various types of audit report here. Please take care whether I am issuing a unmodified report or a modified report. कब कौन सी रिपोर्ट इशू करनी है, कब मेरे को मॉडिफाइड करनी है. हम अनमॉडिफाइड को क्लीन रिपोर्ट कहते हैं. मॉडिफाइड क्या हम इशू करते हैं? मेरे ख्याल से पिछले कुछ सालों से वी हैव स्टार्टेड इशूइंग. सो मॉडिफाइड इज व्हाट? मॉडिफाइड रिपोर्ट इज क्वालिफाइड रिपोर्ट, और इट इज एन एडवर्स रिपोर्ट, or a disclaimer of report. And this is very important, please understand. मेरा पूरा assurance के अंदर मैं किस टाइप की रिपोर्ट दे रहा हूं, क्योंकि मेरा फाइनल प्रोडक्ट तो सिर्फ ऑडिट रिपोर्ट है, नथिंग एल्स. तो क्या मैं अनमॉडिफाइड दे रहा हूं या क्वालिफाइड, एडवर्स या डिस्क्लेमर दे रहा हूं? There is certain other things which we have heard about is key audit matters, which is for listed entities. Emphasis of matter, which is not a qualification, other matter which is again not a qualification. ये मैं emphasize करने के लिए देता हूँ और इन दोनों का भी डिफरेंस बताऊंगा मैं क्या होता है. बट मेरे को अपनी रिपोर्ट पे जो वर्क करनी है, मैं क्वालिफाइड कब दूं, एडवर्स कब दूं, डिस्क्लेमर कब दूं. इसके लिए एक चार्ट देखते हैं जो कि हमने हो सकता है अपने आर्टिकलशिप पीरियड में देखा जब हम अपनी ऑडिट का एग्जाम दे रहे थे. ऑडिटर की जजमेंट, ऑडिटर्स जजमेंट अबाउट परवेसिवनेस ऑफ द मैटर. परवेसिवनेस का मतलब समझ लें कि विच इज इंपैक्टिंग मोर देन वन आइटम, विच इज impacting most of majority of the items. Assets की 5-4 आइटम, liabilities के 5-4 आइटम, एक आइटम करती है उसको परवेसिव नहीं होता. राइट. सो नेचर ऑफ द मैटर डिस्कस करते हैं. सो 2 क्लासेस, मटीरियल बट नॉट परवेसिव, मटीरियल एंड परवेसिव. आप देखेंगे मटीरियल परवेसिव में एडवर्स और डिस्क्लेमर होता है, मटीरियल बट नॉट परवेसिव में सिर्फ क्वालिफाइड होता है. इसमें एडवर्स डिस्क्लेमर नहीं आता. एडवर्स डिस्क्लेमर आर मोर स्ट्रिंजेंट. क्वालिफाइड में जाता है अवर ओपिनियन इज ट्रू एंड फेयर सब्जेक्ट टू दिस एक्सेप्ट फॉर दिस. एडवर्स में होता है इट डज नॉट रिप्रेजेंट ट्रू एंड फेयर व्यू. एडवर्स में इट इज नॉट ट्रू एंड फेयर व्यू. डिस्क्लेमर में वी डू नॉट एक्सप्रेस एन ओपिनियन वेदर इट इज ट्रू और फेयर. हमको पता ही नहीं ट्रू एंड फेयर है कि नहीं. ये तब इशू होता है जब आइटम मेरा मटेरियल और परवेसिव होता है. यहाँ पर मटेरियल तो है बट परवेसिव नहीं है. अगर मटेरियल भी नहीं है तो मेरा क्वालिफाइड भी नहीं जाएगा, मेरा अनमॉडिफाइड रिपोर्ट जाएगा. नाउ डिपेंडिंग अपॉन which would be qualified, which would be adverse, which would be disclaimer. मेरे फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स में डिटेल्स दे रखी है एंड विच आर मटीरियली मिसस्टेटेड. दे रखा है बट मटीरियली मिसस्टेटेड है. एक आधी आइटम है तो क्वालिफाइड, बहुत सारी चीजों को इंपैक्ट कर रहा है, देन एडवर्स. फॉर एग्जांपल, यू विल बी सरप्राइज्ड टू नो व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से. क्या हम अपने नोट्स टू द अकाउंट्स में, अपने नोट्स टू द अकाउंट्स के अंदर डू वी मेंशन दैट the debtors, creditors, loans and advances are subject to confirmation? Do we write that in the notes to the accounts? Do we write that? सर IFC कंपनीज में ना सर, इसलिए बैंक्स में नहीं होता साता जी. रमन जी नहीं लिखते. पर्सनल एक्सपेंस एंड विच आर नॉट इन द इंटरेस्ट, नहीं, इन्वेस्टमेंट विच आर नॉट इन द इंटरेस्ट ऑफ कंपनी नहीं आता. 7 क्वेश्चन डिफरेंट हुए. विनोद जी कहते नहीं, हम नहीं लिख रहे कि सन्नी डेटर्स, क्रेडिटर्स, लोन्स एंड एडवांसेस आर सब्जेक्ट टू कंफर्मेशन. आर बी राइटिंग? विनोद जी, रमन जी कह रहे हैं नो. कुछ लोग लिख रहे हैं. Also for such reference for stock or cash. I could not understand Periwal ji about what you intend to say about this reference for stock or cash. मैं शायद नहीं समझ पाया. But some of us are writing that debtors, creditors. मोहित जी वही कह रहा हूँ, some CAs are writing it. No, not CAs. स्टार्टिंग में अपन ने 3-4 मिनट यही डिस्कस किया. मैनेजमेंट इज राइटिंग इट. स्टॉक डेटर्स एंड इन्वेस्टमेंट, स्टॉक डेटर्स, लोन्स एंड एडवांसेस आर सब्जेक्ट टू कंफर्मेशन. नोट्स अकाउंट्स मैनेजमेंट का है, मैनेजमेंट कह रही है. रिटन सर्टिफाइड बाय मैनेजमेंट. सर मैनेजमेंट खुद लिख रही है तो उसमें सर्टिफाइड मैनेजमेंट बैलेंस शीट में लिखने से क्या हो जाएगा? तो सर जब मोहित जी, विनोद जी, हम समझे बैलेंस शीट में अगर कैश इन हैंड है, स्टॉक इन हैंड है, लिखते हैं सर्टिफाइड बाय मैनेजमेंट, वो तो बैलेंस शीट तो मैनेजमेंट की ही है. हमारे माइंड में इतने टाइम से ये जा चुका है कि बैलेंस शीट ऑडिटर बनाता है. नहीं, ऑडिटर नहीं बनाता, मैनेजमेंट बनाएगा. तो वो तो सब चीज तो वही सर्टिफाई कर रहा है. मेरे को तो जो उससे सर्टिफिकेट लेना, अपना रिप्रेजेंटेशन लेटर मिलूंगा ना. एंड इफ द मैनेजमेंट इज सेइंग, That is why I have said we are not writing certified by management. That is good, Parival. That is good. And मोहित जी जो आप कह रहे हैं ऑडिटर ने बोला तो मैनेजमेंट ने लिख दिया, तो आप ये समझो मैनेजमेंट ये कह रहा है, मैं मानता हूं मैनेजमेंट ने लिख दिया, ठीक है, वो मैनेजमेंट कह रहा है कि my debtors creditors are subject to confirmation. My debtors creditors loans and advances are subject to confirmation. So the debtors are 5 crores. He says I don't know कितना पैसा आएगा, हो सकता है 2 लाख रुपए 5 लाख आएगा, तो मुझे नहीं पता. And auditor is saying no, he doesn't know. I'm saying everything is true and fair. Is it possible? Is it possible? Auditor is saying no, he doesn't know about his business. I know. He is saying कुछ नहीं पता, मेरा debtors creditors stock मेरे को कुछ नहीं पता, हो सकता सब कुछ unconfirmed है. When the management is saying everything is subject to confirmation, I have to qualify. It does not represent true and fair. पता ही नहीं कितना आएगा debtors creditors से. It is pervasive ना. Just giving an example. मैं ऑडिट कर रहा हूं और मेरे को sufficient appropriate audit evidence नहीं मिला. कल ये किसी सीए भाई का क्वेश्चन आया कि सर मेरे एक कंपनी है, उसका एक ब्रांच था, तो कंपनी का तो सारे बुक्स थी, यहाँ 50 करोड़ की टर्नओवर थी, एक ब्रांच के अंदर छोटा सा था 50 लाख का टर्नओवर था, उसमें मेरे को डिटेल नहीं मिली. नाउ दिस इज वन आइटम जिसमें मेरे को आई एम नॉट ऑब्टेन्ड सफिशिएंट एप्रोप्रिएट ऑडिट एविडेंस, मेरे को इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं मिली. इस केस में क्वालिफाइड लिटिगेशन जाएगी बिकॉज इट इज नॉट परवेसिव. बट अगर वो परवेसिव है, मान लीजिए उसके यहाँ पे बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स मिली ही नहीं, रेड हो गई, सब डॉक्यूमेंट्स ले गए, आग लग गई, चोरी हो गया, वो कहते हैं कुछ नहीं है सर, ये टैली है मेरी, दैट्स ऑल. देन यू हैव नॉट रिसीव्ड sufficient appropriate audit evidence. They have to issue disclaimer of opinion. How can you say everything is true and fair? You have to say I cannot express whether it is true and fair or not. I cannot express. तब तक मैं चेक ना करूं. So in that case, we have seen in several cases where the auditee did not give the information. I have to issue a disclaimer of opinion. Right? Please don't hesitate. Whatever is the fact, because we are seeing day in, day out that auditors are being called for interrogation in any matter where the assessee is at trouble. If I have given an unmodified report, a clean report, where the issues are on the face, with the background that everything is not correct, then auditor is also called upon. Please take care of this. Now, let us talk about, auditing standards. पहले इसका ना एक overall framework समझ लें. Now, this is called engagement and quality control standards. One is my SQCs, and all others are my engagement-based standards. This is for the quality control of the CFR. अब एंगेजमेंट बेस्ड में भी ओवरऑल जो है 4 तरीके के स्टैंडर्ड्स हैं. वन इज माय अश्योरेंस सर्विसेज एंड अदर अश्योरेंस सर्विस में मेरे क्या हैं, which are audits and reviews of historical financial state information, and these are my essays 100 से 999, SRE standards on review engagements 2000 से 2699, and other assurance, which is my standard on assurance engagements 3000 to 3699. ये numbers हैं, इतने standards नहीं हैं. And others are my related services, which are SRS 4000 से 4699. हम इनकी डिटेल में नहीं जाएंगे, बट इनके एक बार नाम तो पढ़ लें ताकि मुझे पता हो कि कल को ढूंढना हो तो मैं कहाँ ढूंढूं. In today's day, what my personal view is that I need not keep everything in my mind, but I should know when the situation arises, I should know where to search and what to search. कहाँ ढूंढ रहा है ये पता हो, I can be a very good professional. It is not that I should remember each and everything by heart. Not required at all. Not required at all. but I should know where to search and what to search. So yes, related services के लिए ये हैं, और assurances के लिए ये SA, SRS और SE. ये क्या है ये भी एक बार देखें. टोटल जो है मेरे SQC का सिर्फ एक ही स्टैंडर्ड है, SQC1. स्टैंडर्ड्स ऑन ऑडिटिंग जो हम बार-बार एसएस बोलते हैं, यही नोटिफाई किए हुए हैं नफरा ने, नफरा के थ्रू सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने कंपनीज एक्ट में 38 स्टैंडर्ड्स. स्टैंडर्ड्स ऑन रिव्यू एंगेजमेंट्स जो इतने सारे हम कह रहे हैं 700, पर एक्चुअली 2 ही हैं, और एश्योरेंस एंगेजमेंट्स में 3 हैं, और रिलेटेड सर्विसेज में 2. टोटल 46, राइट. सर हम अब नाम देखें. अब मैं अगर बात करता हूं स्टैंडर्ड्स ऑन ऑडिटिंग, क्योंकि मेरे स्टैंडर्ड्स ऑन ऑडिटिंग इज फ्रॉम 100 to 999. 38 स्टैंडर्ड्स हैं, जिसके अंदर इंट्रोडक्टरी में कुछ नहीं है. जनरल प्रिंसिपल्स एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज 200 की लाइन में है, नो स्टैंडर्ड है. रिस्क असेसमेंट एंड रिस्पॉन्स टू रिस्क असेसमेंट 300 की लाइन में और 400 की लाइन में 6 हैं. ऑडिट एविडेंस इन 500 सीरीज इज 11. यूजिंग वर्क ऑफ अदर्स ओनली 3. ऑडिट कंक्लूजन एंड रिपोर्टिंग जो हम 700 वाली सीरीज बोलते हैं 6 है. एंड स्पेशलाइज्ड एरियाज 803. टोटल 38 स्टैंडर्ड्स. व्हाट आर दीज? अगर मैं जनरल प्रिंसिपल्स एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज की बात करूं तो 9 स्टैंडर्ड्स. 200 इज ओवरऑल ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंट ऑडिटर्स रिपोर्ट. ये जो मैं एंगेजमेंट लेटर की बात करते हैं वो 210 से आता है. एग्रीइंग द टर्म्स ऑफ ऑडिट एंगेजमेंट, एंड प्लीज फॉर एनी एंगेजमेंट, वेदर इट इज माय स्क्रूटनी केस, वेदर इट इज माय अपील, वेदर इट इज माय opinion giving, please obtain an engagement letter. If you talk about the bigger MNCs, they don't do any work without issuing an EL. बिना EL के कुछ नहीं करते. So create that habit of EL. Quality control of an audit of financial statement 220. Audit documentation मेरे को क्या रखनी है, कैसे रखनी है, कैसे मेंटेन करना है 230. Auditor's responsibility to consider fraud in an audit of financial statements, where we say he is not a bloodhound but a watchdog. And recently our honorable president Niyar Jambusari has said in a statement that we can be expected to be just a stiffer dog but never a watchhound, right? So 240, consideration of laws and regulations and audit of financial statement. यहाँ पे 250 मेरे को कहता है कि मेरे को अगर दूसरे लॉज की कंप्लायंस के नहीं उसने नहीं किया और वो मटेरियल है, जैसे उसको जीएसटी एप्लीकेबल है बट उसने जीएसटी नंबर ही नहीं लिया, आई हैव टू रिस्पॉन्ड. ईएसआई पीएफ एप्लीकेबल है, मटेरियल है, आई हैव टू रिस्पॉन्ड, आई हैव टू कंप्लाई. कम्युनिकेशन विद दोस चार्ज्ड विद द गवर्नेंस, communicating deficiency in internal control 265. responsibility of joint auditors कि कैसे हमने एक्टिविटीज को अश्योरेंस के एंगेजमेंट्स को डिवाइड करना है दोनों के बीच में, एंड डॉक्यूमेंट दैट. रिस्क असेसमेंट एंड रिस्पॉन्स असेसमेंट 6 स्टैंडर्ड्स. प्लानिंग एंड ऑडिट ऑफ फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट व्हिच टॉक्स अबाउट कितना रिस्क है, क्या है, उसके हिसाब से मेरी सैंपलिंग डिसाइड हुई. Identifying and assessing the risk of material misstatement through understanding the entity and environment 315, very very important. Materiality क्या है in planning and performing an audit? Materiality level could be overall, could be item wise. When we did certain of the quality reviews, so there was an say certain item on which item was say 2 crore rupees. We said okay, kindly show the documentation for thereof. These bigger firms had total documentation system. They just brought out that materiality chart. Say our materiality limit in this transaction is 5 crores. We did not see it. Is it okay? Yes, as per the standards on auditing, is it okay? It is okay. This is duly notified by the central government. These standards, I should be aware of this. So have your materiality limits. What is the auditor's response to the assessed risk? How did he inform the management? What is to be done? Audit consideration related to entities using service organizations. जो entities use कर रही हैं दूसरी service organizations, उसका केस में कैसे audit करना है? Evaluation of misstatements identified during the audit. They are all risk assessment and response to risk को मैंने assess किया और how I have responded to such risks. Audit evidence 500 overall audit evidence के ऊपर. Special consideration for selected items 501, and at the COVID times a special guidance was given on this. Inventory के केस में कैसे करूंगा, litigation and claims, long term investment and segment wise, ये 4 आइटम के ऊपर selected items है, ये 4. इसके ऊपर audit evidence में मेरे को क्या करना है. This 501 says. 505 external confirmation, it is not merely at the year end. 1-2 महीने पहले से भी चालू कर सकते हैं. एक्सटर्नल कन्फर्मेशन लेना मैंडेटरी है. इनिशियल एंगेजमेंट्स, ओपनिंग बैलेंसेस, क्या वो ऑडिट थे, अनऑडिटेड थे, ऑडिट बाय अदर ऑडिटर थे, तो आपको इस स्टैंडर्ड के हिसाब से उसके अंदर रिपोर्टिंग करनी. व्हाट आर द एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर्स, रेशियोज, ट्रेंड्स. अब तो आपको पता है ये शेड्यूल 3 के अंदर 11 ratios have been notified. From 22 it has to be given. What are the trends? Investigation of fluctuations. All 520. How do you analyze it? Audit sampling. What is the method? Given in 530. 100% auditing sampling पे होती है. Auditing accounting estimates, including fair value accounting estimates and related disclosures. How to audit this related parties 550. Very, very important 560 subsequent events. March 31st March के बाद जो activities हो गई, is there giving an impact on my balance sheet as on 31st March? Does those even tell that whether it would remain true and fair on 31st March or not? Going concern पे Aniket sir ने भी बोला 570, whether my concern is a going concern or not. These are revised. 560 and 570 both. There is a small technical guide on that issued by the AASB on this. जैसे अभी अनिकेत जी ने बोला भी था कि मेरा बैलेंस शीट तो सब कुछ फेयर है, लेकिन मैं अपने डायरेक्टर्स रिपोर्ट में लिख रहा हूँ कि मेरा ये ठीक नहीं है, इंडस्ट्री खराब है, अगले साल पता नहीं काम होगा नहीं होगा, ऑर्डर्स नहीं है. So are the accounts prepared on going concern or not? So I have to be very, very careful upon this. Right? So I have to be careful upon this. Written representation, MRL ले रहे कि नहीं ले रहे? हर केस के अंदर आपने MRL लेना है. Right? Using the work of others, 3 standards. Using the work of another auditor. मेरे एक ब्रांच का अदर ऑडिट किसी और ने किया, एक सेगमेंट का किसी और ऑडिटर ने किया, उसका वर्क यूज करने में मेरे को क्या करना है. यूजिंग द वर्क ऑफ इंटरनल ऑडिटर्स, कैसे उनके साथ मेरे को रिलेशनशिप बना के रखना. यूजिंग द वर्क ऑफ ऑडिटर्स एक्सपर्ट, मेरा कोई एक्सपर्ट है, आईटी से रिलेटेड है, ये इंडस्ट्री ऐसी है एक्सट्रैक्शन की जिसके अंदर मेरे को कोई और ऑडिटर के मैंने एक्सपर्ट को वर्क पे यूज किया, तो उसके अंदर मेरे को क्या ध्यान रखना. देन कम्स माय 700 Cs. 5 illustrations given. Forming an opinion and reporting of financial statements. जो कंपनीज एक्ट की भी ऑडिट रिपोर्ट है, सारी की रिपोर्टिंग का फॉर्मेट ऐसे 700. 701 की ऑडिट मैटर्स ओनली फॉर लिस्टेड एंटिटीज राइट नाउ. ये जो हम अभी मॉडिफाइड रिपोर्ट कह रहे थे 705, व्हेन आई टॉक अबाउट क्वालिफिकेशन, एडवर्स और डिस्क्लेमर, सबके फॉर्मेट इसमें दे रखे हैं. अगर आपको ये करना तो कैसे फॉर्मेट होगा रिपोर्ट का, कैसे नहीं होगा. हम ढूंढते हैं फॉर्मेट, कहाँ ढूंढते हैं हम? रिलायंस की बैलेंस शीट ढूंढ लेते हैं, किसी और की बैलेंस शीट कहाँ से देखें? इन स्टैंडर्ड्स में फॉर्मेट दे रखे. 706 एम्फसिस ऑफ मैटर, अदर मैटर. ये क्या होता है कि दिस एम्फसिस ऑफ मैटर, अदर मैटर, दीज आर इशूड व्हेन आई डोंट हैव टू क्वालिफाई बट आई वांट टू ब्रिंग टू द नॉलेज कि ऐसा ऐसा हुआ व्हिच इज मटेरियल. अगर नोट टू अकाउंट्स में कुछ दे रखा है तो एम्फसिस ऑफ मैटर जाता है, वेयर आई रेफर टू नोट नंबर दिस. जहां नोट्स में कुछ नहीं दे रखा, स्टिल आई वांट टू ब्रिंग, देन दैट इज अदर मैटर. How to see and audit the comparative information, previous year figures. ऐसे 710. 720 again the requirement for other information, that is my director's report, उसके अंदर जो इंफॉर्मेशन दे रखी है वो मेरे फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट से डिफरेंट तो नहीं है. That I have to see. Right? SA 800. Now these are specialized areas. Here, अगर कोई स्पेशल पर्पस फ्रेमवर्क के लिए है, कोई मेरे को टेंडर के लिए कहता है कि स्पेशल मेरे को फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट बना के दे दो, उसकी रिपोर्टिंग ऐसे 800 से होगी. अगर मेरे को एक आइटम का करना है सिर्फ ऑडिट, एलिमेंट्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स, स्पेशल कंडीशन 805. समरी फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स के ऊपर मेरे को रिपोर्ट देना है 810. Not complete, but summary thereof. All that has been done. Right? Reviewing engagements. Engagements to review financial statements. जो limited purpose review कहते हैं ना, वो 202400 के हिसाब से. Sometimes you have to issue the limited review. Then as per the review SRE 2400 इंट्रीम को मेरे को रिव्यू करना है 2410. कई बार रिपोर्ट इश्यू करने जाते, सब फॉर्मेट इसमें दे रखे. द एग्जामिनेशन ऑफ प्रोस्पेक्टिव, कई बार हम कहते हैं नहीं प्रोजेक्टेड बैलेंस शीट, प्रोजेक्टेड बैलेंस शीट हम कर सकते हैं नहीं कर सकते, वैसे तो नहीं करना चाहिए, बट अगर करते हैं देन SRE 3400 फॉर्मेट दे रखा है रिपोर्ट का. Please issue the report as per this. If not, then again, these are mandatory standards. SRE 3400 for projected balance sheets. Assurance report on controls at service organization 3402. Prospectus में मेरे को परफॉर्मा फाइनेंशियल इंफॉर्मेशन देनी है 3402 prospectus में. अगर मेरे को रिलेटेड सर्विसेज के अंदर engagements to perform agreed upon procedures regarding financial information SRE 4400, compilation engagement to compile financial information 44, ये जो हम कहते हैं ना provisional balance sheet, ऐसे साइन नहीं कर सकते. Of course auditor cannot compile, but other than auditor he can do. Then issue the report as per 4410. Report is mandatory. Whenever an auditor has to issue something, it has to come along with a certificate or report. ऐसे नहीं किसी भी चीज पे स्टैंप लगा दे. Right? Yes, Raman bhai, several persons who are being engaged specifically for filing of ITR, they too take the engagement letter for filing of ITR. Right. You know, one of the most important is SQC. चाहे आप नफरा की बात करें, चाहे आप पीयर रिव्यू बोर्ड की बात करें, चाहे आप क्वालिटी रिव्यू बोर्ड की बात करें, सबका ध्यान SQC पे है. SQC 1. अगर आपको अपनी फर्म को इंप्रूव करना है, मैंडेटरी है. आर्टिकल्स को बोले काइंडली सी SQC 1 मेरे यहाँ पे कंप्लाइड है कि नहीं. Of course, it talks about everything. Only one quality control for firms that performs audit and reviews of historical financial information and other assurance and related service engagements. And it is mandatory since 2009, please. Objective is to provide guidance regarding firms' responsibility for system of quality control. For what? For audit of historical financial statement, review of historical financial statement, for other assurance and related services engagements. और पीयर रिव्यू के बाद से 1 अप्रैल 2014 के बाद से एवरीथिंग इज SQC बेस्ड वेरिफिकेशन. Quality control has to include policies for leadership responsibility for quality within the firm. किसकी responsibility रहेगी? Then ethical requirement क्या-क्या है हमारी? Acceptance and continuance of the client specific relationship and specific engagements. Human resources को मैं के लिए मेरी policies क्या हैं? Engagement के performance के लिए मेरी policies क्या हैं? मॉनिटरिंग की मेरी पॉलिसीज क्या हैं, और क्वालिटी कंट्रोल्स मेंटेन करने के लिए आई हैव टू सी द कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट of the ICI, document my procedures and the quality controls, maintenance of professional skills and standards, कैसे मैं इन हाउस ट्रेनिंग, आउटसाइड ट्रेनिंग सब कुछ करवा रहा हूँ, सब स्टैंडर्ड्स मेंटेन करने पड़ते हैं. स्टाफ की सुपरविजन डेवलपमेंट के लिए आप क्या वर्किंग कर रहे हैं, इंडिपेंडेंस पॉलिसीज एंड कम्युनिकेशन, मेजॉरिटी इश्यूज इसके ऊपर निकल के आते हैं. आप कैसे कम्युनिकेट कर रहे हैं, कैसे उसका कोई इशू आता तो कैसे रिजॉल्व कर रहे हैं, इंडिपेंडेंस मेंटेन करने के लिए. आउटसाइड कंसल्टेशन, आपको कोई इशू आता तो बाहर किससे कंसल्टेशन करते हैं. रिव्यू एंड इवैल्यूएशन ऑफ द इंटरनल कंट्रोल्स, आपके खुद के कैसे करते हैं. सब्सटेंटिव टेस्ट कितना कर रहे हैं, किस बेसिस पे कर रहे हैं. कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट में ऑफ कोर्स द 6 आइटम्स, इंटीग्रिटी, इंडिपेंडेंस, ऑब्जेक्टिविटी, प्रोफेशनल कॉम्पिटेंस एंड ड्यू केयर, confidentiality and professional behavior, ये सब मेरे को चेक करने पड़ते हैं. Of course, documentation, I'll not, we have got less time, so I'll just go into one or other important item. मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है, मान लीजिए हम सर्टिफिकेट कैसे इशू करते हैं. मान लीजिए आपको क्लाइंट ने कहा मेरे को आप नेटवर्थ सर्टिफिकेट इशू कर दो. So what do we do? Let us be very practical. How the certificates are being issued? कैसे इशू कर रहे हैं? Anyone, please type. Because another 5 to 7 minutes. Network certificate issue कर रहे हैं तो how do we issue? What do we do? बैंकर ने कहा शेयर होल्डर लिस्ट सर्टिफाई करवा के ले आओ सीए से. What do we do? क्या कुछ डॉक्यूमेंट लेते हैं, क्या रिपोर्ट का फॉर्मेट होता है सर्टिफिकेट का, कहीं कुछ होता है, या जो वो पेपर लेके आया उस पर अपने स्टैम्प करके साइन कर दिए. एनीवन प्लीज. हाँ विवेक, we check the requirement, we address to specific person, ABC bankers, and then you write that this is to certify this and this, right? We don't give to whomsoever it's not concerned. We take requisition and you issue to specific purpose. Bankers को, जैसे bankers ने कहा list of shareholder, तो आपने कहा Bank of Baroda subject issue list of directors of Messrs ABC Private Limited, and then you give, we certify hereby that these are the list of directors. Like this we do. ऐसे ही करते हैं. Yes. Information and explanation given. मैं ये wording लिख देते हैं अपने साथ. You know. But we ask why the same is required for auditor. Agreed. Agreed. Banker बोलता है ITR की कॉपी सर्टिफाई कर दो. Banker बोलता है, हम कर देते हैं. We don't do that. Very good. Very good. अब हमको पता होना चाहिए कि हमारा सिस्टम क्या है. Kindly go through very small publication, guidance note on reports or certificates for special purposes. कोई भी आपने सर्टिफिकेट इशू करना है, उसका फॉर्मेट इसके अंदर है. प्लीज, यू कैन नॉट इशू इन एनी अदर फॉर्मेट. जिस तरह से आप इशू कर रहे हैं, दैट इज नॉट अलाउड. हमारे कुछ दोस्त में भी less than 1% are even certifying. There is nothing like certified true copy which a CA can do. Right? No, the bankers are insisting. आपको don't say no. It's okay. I'll give a certificate. Format पता होना चाहिए, procedure पता होना चाहिए. Procedure क्या है? First, take an engagement letter. कि आप में से क्या करवाना चाहते हैं, उसमें पर्पस भी होगा, किस पर्पस से कराना चाहते हैं. Then for this again I am saying, for your certifying the ITR itself, and obtain an MRL, management representation letter, कि भैया साइट से डाउनलोड करके दिया है, वहां से वो भी तो लिख के देगा ना. Then issue this report in this format, 2 pages, nearly 2 pages, which contains initially कि क्या मेरे को क्यों देना है, क्या दे रहा हूं, क्या मेरा डॉक्यूमेंट है, मेरा एंगेजमेंट लेटर क्या था, एग्रीमेंट क्या था, देन अकाउंटेंट ये मैनेजमेंट की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, देन इट कंटेन्स अकाउंटेंट या प्रोफेशनल की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, देन इट गिव्स द ओपिनियन और द सर्टिफिकेट, एंड देन इट्स गिव द रिस्ट्रिक्शन ऑफ यूज, कि भैया इस चीज के लिए, इसके अलावा किसी चीज के लिए नहीं है. दिस फॉर्मेट इज गिवन इन दिस गाइडेंस नोट, प्लीज यू हैव टू इशू इन दिस ओनली. और उसके बाद अपना आप यूडिन जनरेट करें और इनवॉइस रेज करें. बोलो ना कितने सर्टिफिकेट चाहिए, किस चीज के चाहिए. आपको ये सर्टिफिकेट चाहिए ना क्लाइंट को कि आईटीआर की सर्टिफाइड ट्रू कॉपी. सर्टिफाइड ट्रू कॉपी कुछ नहीं होती. I'll certify that this is the ITR which has been downloaded from the IT website. This is the certificate I'll be issued ना. लो इसके लिए एंगेजमेंट लेटर, लो एमआरएल फॉर्मेट में इशू करो, यूडिन जनरेट करो, इनवॉइस रेज करो. किसी भी क्लाइंट के डॉक्यूमेंट पे आपने स्टैम्प करके साइन नहीं करने. Our stamp is of very huge prominence and importance. Whenever we stamp and sign, it has to be along with a report or certificate format. Please understand. Please understand, this is very important. MCA digital certificates में वहां हम चेंज नहीं कर सकते मनोज जी, I agree, but we create UDIN for that. There we cannot do. Otherwise, when we are issuing any hard copy certificate, I fully agree, Manoj ji. But otherwise that this guidance note is mandatory on us ना. इसकी compliance नहीं करूँगा तो it is not my proper professional service. The negligence. Mandatory है. Check कीजिएगा. This is for our benefit. Please understand. Please understand. जब भी ऑडिटर, जब भी चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट इशू करेगा कोई सर्टिफिकेट, वो होगा 2 पेज का. मान लीजिए कोई फॉर्मेट फिक्स्ड है किसी का, तो आप कहोगे इट इज अनेक्स्ड देयर विद, और उस पे लिखेंगे रेड विद माय रिपोर्ट. प्लीज रीड, दिस इज अ वेरी स्मॉल पब्लिकेशन, मैंडेटरी है. दिस वन स्लाइड, of course for any audit have an appointment letter and then have your engagement letter. Then of course understand the client, of course कि किस तरह का नेचर है, क्या काम है, कौन अकाउंटेंट है, क्या सॉफ्टवेयर है. अब तो ऑडिट ट्रेल की भी बात आ गई. क्या प्रेमिसेस है, क्या लॉज एप्लीकेबल है, all those things. And then of course plan your materiality and risk assessment. We have discussed the standards. Have your execution by audit programs, checklist, standards on auditing, सारे के सारे. And of course your representation, जो सर्टिफिकेट लेना है, जो मैनेजमेंट रिप्रेजेंटेशन लेना है, सब लीजिए. एंड अपनी रिपोर्टिंग विद यूडिन इशू कीजिए. लास्ट बट नॉट द लीस्ट, हियर यू हैव टू कंसंट्रेट अपॉन योर बिलिंग एंड कलेक्शन. दिस लास्ट लेग इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. हम ये सोचते हैं कि हम तो इतनी अच्छी सर्विस दे रहे हैं बट बिलिंग करते, कोई बात नहीं, हम सोचते हैं कि बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, but it is not good, please. The profession grows, the profession is valued, the professional is valued when he raises the invoice and collect the fees in time. जब वो टाइम से नहीं लेता है, इनवॉइस रेज नहीं करता, तो क्लाइंट कहता है क्या ये तो कुछ भी है हमारा से, यार कुछ भी करा लो इससे. But who does on time, ask on time, वो कहता है भाई वो तो सकता है, फीस भी ठीक लेता है और टाइम से लेता है, उसकी वैल्यू बढ़ती है. आपको अपनी वैल्यू बढ़ानी है तो बिलिंग टाइम से करें, कलेक्शन टाइम करें. होल प्रोफेशनल whole profession will grow. You just don't think about others, just think about yourself. आप करेंगे, हर कोई अपना अपना करेगा, दूसरे को देख के ना काम करें, सिर्फ अपने पर कंसंट्रेट करें. Become selfish. Just think about your own growth. Don't think about वो दूसरा क्या चार्ज कर रहा है. मेरी कॉस्टिंग है 5,000 रुपए आईटीआर की, तो मैं 5,000 लूंगा. मेरी कॉस्टिंग है 2,500 की, तो मैं 2,500 लूंगा. हाँ, अगर आपकी कॉस्टिंग 500 रुपए है तो लीजिए ना 500 रुपए. जितनी आपकी वर्थ है, जितना आपका टाइम लग रहा है, उसके हिसाब से लीजिए. So whatever is your correct thing, but charge appropriately and collect in time. I am telling you, the whole profession would grow. Take my words. This is my last slide. Of course, certain do's. Do the audit, the certificate as per the applicable law. Comply with the accounting standards. Comply with the standards in auditing when you're doing the audit. And of course, document well. We are doing sometimes excellent work, but lacking in documentation. Generate the UDIN, mandatory है, and of course inform the client in advance. आज भी, कल भी मेरे पास फोन आया, आज भी आए सर, किसी के टैक्स ऑडिट रह गई, किसी का आईटीआर रह गया, साइट नहीं चल रही थी, एक्सटेंशन होनी चाहिए. आप क्लाइंट को राइट में एडवांस इन्फॉर्म कीजिए. वो नहीं आ रहा, आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते. Don't get stressed about it. It is of course the client who would be getting the work. Conduct the audit in time. Time से कीजिएगा. इस बार भी प्रेशर रहेगा. Issue the report in hard copy. अगर टैक्स ऑडिट आपका है तो हार्ड कॉपी में भी इशू कीजिएगा प्लीज. सिर्फ सॉफ्ट नहीं जो ऑनलाइन चला गया. And of course, billing and collection in time. I'm emphasizing this since last nearly 15 years now. So जो धीरे-धीरे कर रहे हैं, improvement पूरे प्रोफेशन में आ रही है. And of course, very importantly, enjoy your life too. संडेज को ऑफ रखिए. आप कमा किस लिए रहे हैं, काम किस लिए कर रहे हैं, दोस्तों के साथ जाइए, फैमिली को टाइम दीजिए. एंजॉय योर लाइफ टू प्लीज. वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एक ही लाइफ है, बड़ी मुश्किल से मिलता है. हमने तो पढ़ा ही है, मनुष्य जीवन बड़ा मुश्किल से मिलता है. तो उसको फुल एंजॉय कीजिए. संडेज को काम ना करें, हॉलीडेज को काम ना करें. सर्टेन डोंट्स, ऑफ कोर्स, नो रॉन्ग एडवाइस. हम कई बार गलत एडवाइस दे देते हैं टेम्परेरी चीजों को देखते हुए. कोई भी प्रोफेशनल, कोई भी सीए अगर गलत एडवाइस देता है तो लॉन्ग टर्म में उसी की वैल्यू कम होती है. ये समझ ले. शॉर्ट, चाहे वो यंगस्टर है, वो सोचता है मैंने उसके शुरू में इतना टैक्स बचा दिया, बट अल्टीमेटली वो घूम के उसी के पास आएगा, उसी को नुकसान करेगा. थिंक इन द लॉन्ग टर्म. गिव करेक्ट एडवाइस. जरूरत नहीं है एक्स्ट्रा कंपनी बनाने की, तो मत बनवाइए. He will bring more persons to you as a client. No compromise on the quality. You may charge less, hardly matter. It is your cost, as I talked earlier, but no compromise on the quality, please. Please don't certify any wrong fact. Cash में huge payments है, 43 में nil ना लिखें प्लीज. बिकॉज एक एक जने के करने से पूरे प्रोफेशन को इंपैक्ट पड़ता है. जस्ट थिंक अबाउट योरसेल्फ. एंड ऑफ कोर्स नो स्ट्रेस. एक ही लाइफ है. अच्छा काम करें, इंटीग्रिटी मेंटेन रखें, स्ट्रेस ना ले. भगवान ना करे किसी में से हमारे को किसी को कुछ भी हो गया तो कोई क्लाइंट हमारी फैमिली की हेल्प नहीं करेगा. वो आएगा, अपनी फाइल ले जाएगा, किसी और से कराना है. द बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम क्रिएटर in the human body is stress. Please don't take stress. And yes, this experts panel, शुरू में प्रमोद जी ने बताया भी, this experts panel is there. Many of my friends in Kolkata also are hooked onto this. You can just sign up. It is free, and after signing up, you'll get an email. Click on that link. Your account will be activated free of cost. Then you log in and then ask any question on GST, income tax, company law, audit, bank, anything. And existing questions also you can search. Raman Katowala who is here, he is one of the top contributor in the exports panel also. In GST and others, he is contributing a lot. And then we have got various articles, presentations, videos, notifications by various experts in category wise. Now more than 25,000 answers have already been given by more than 110 experts throughout the country. If you are an expert and you are willing to answer free of cost, You can sign up as an expert also. Everything here only. Right? This presentation I'll be uploading on this portal, Lonavat.com, as well as the free mobile app Lonavat. You can download from here. And it also contains all the updates and ready to use charts since 2007. This mobile app. Mobile app is there for experts panel also. And thank you very much for your very, very patient hearing. I just took around 10 minutes more. So sorry for that, but thanks Shanghai ji and others for giving me an opportunity, Vivek ji for giving me an opportunity to share my views. मनोज जी का कहना है बिलिंग एंड कलेक्शन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. चरणदास झंझुनवाला जी बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हैं सर. Whole problem is that we have to do entire client documentation as they don't have qualified person. We can't charge for. देखिए, I 100% agree with you मनोज जी. मैं क्लाइंट के लिए काम कर सकता हूं, अपने लिए नहीं कर सकता. ये डॉक्यूमेंटेशन किसके लिए हो रही है? ये मेरे लिए हो रही है. मैं अपना ध्यान नहीं रखूं. एक जने की क्लाइंट की मैंने डॉक्यूमेंटेशन बना ली, मेरे को बाकी सब में वो चेंज ही करना होगा थोड़ा बहुत. मतलब कि मेरे पास ये टाइम नहीं है कि मैं अपना ध्यान रखूं. एंड दिस इज द बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम व्हिच वी आर फेसिंग. एक जने का मेंटेन करेगा, पहली बार में दिक्कत आएगी. आफ्टर दैट यू विल बी एंजॉयिंग द योर क्लाइंट्स वुड बी सेइंग सर आप कितने कागज साइन कराते हो? बिकॉज मेरा भी ऑडिट होता है, मेरी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है. सो इट इज फॉर मी विच ही इज साइनिंग. You know, first time when we started 15 years ago, हमने जब चालू किया एंगेजमेंट लेटर लेने का, तो हमारे क्लाइंट ने, आवाज नहीं आ रही?
परफेक्ट है सर, परफेक्ट है.
आ रही है. हमारे एक क्लाइंट को हमने एंगेजमेंट लेटर दिया, वो छूल गया, कहता क्या बात कर रहे हो, बैलेंस शीट हम बना रहे हैं. यस सर आप ही बना रहे हो. बिकॉज वी रोट कि उनकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है. दे वर टेकन अबैक. मैंने कहा सर पिछली ऑडिट रिपोर्ट निकालो, उसमें लिखा हुआ कि बैलेंस शीट आप बनाते हो, हम तो आपकी हेल्प करते हैं. He took 2 days. क्या क्या मेरे से साइन करा रहे? First time that was. After that, of course, it was fine. So ये डॉक्यूमेंट आप क्या सोचते हैं? बिग फोर क्या करते हैं? क्या बिग फोर के लिए तो क्लाइंट बना के देता है? नो. जो मेरे को चाहिए वो मैं बना के दूंगा. जब वो बैलेंस शीट साइन करता है, साथ में वो डॉक्यूमेंट पे साइन करता है. ये करने से मेरी ही वैल्यू बढ़ रही है. प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड. मनोज बिल्कुल सही कर रहे हैं. तो ये तो शेड्यूल 3 में चेंज करना ही पड़ेगा ना. लॉज आर चेंजिंग, तो बैलेंस शीट का फॉर्मेट चेंज करना ही पड़ेगा. और सर अगर चेंज नहीं होगा, सब कुछ सेम रहेगा, तो मेरी और आपकी जरूरत कहाँ है? we are some of us are talking about over compliance. सर आप खुश होंगे ना, जीएसटी ऑडिट चला गया तो कंप्लायंस कम हो गई. टैक्स ऑडिट 10 करोड़ की लिमिट हो गई तो कंप्लायंस कम हो गई. आर वी हैप्पी? प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड. कंप्लायंसेस हैं. मैं ये नहीं कह रहा बिजनेसमैन को प्रॉब्लम है. बिजनेसमैन को प्रॉब्लम है तो दे शुड श्योरली गो टू द गवर्नमेंट. व्हाई शुड अ चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट से excess compliance? If I don't charge, then it is my problem, my stress. Excess compliance, I charge, it is my opportunity. Let us change our mindset, please. There is no other way out. Audits are reducing, bank audit, tax audit, GST audit gone. You know, whatever service we render, charge for that. We have to change our mindset. There is no other way out, sir. Sorry if our views may differ, but yes, this is my personal view. Right? Thank you very much for your very, very patient hearing and interactive. You have interacted a lot on this, everyone. So thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, Pramod ji. You rightly said that we should live a life stress-free because life एक ही मिला है. And moreover, we chartered accountants should learn to say no. That is an important aspect. You rightly said that someone charges 500, someone charges 5,000 for the same service, and we have to learn how to say no. And secondly, we all should start believing that audit not documented is audit not done. The day people start believing, because the final product is audit report.
Vivek ji, here I'll interrupt it a bit. Yes, well, you have very rightly said audit not documented is audit not done. I say one more line. Any service for which you don't charge is no service rendered at all.
Correct. करेक्ट।
हमको लगता है हमने सर्विस दी, भाई कोई सर्विस नहीं दी।
इसलिए घर में हमारी पूछ नहीं होती और लॉकडाउन के बाद हमें और कोई पूछता नहीं है। And rightly said, sir, as I was saying in the starting of the deliberation also, assurance has now become a specialized job. Whether it's a small certificate which can have big ramification or big issue afterward, we should open our eye. We should not sign anything blindly which our client sends to us. अगर क्लाइंट बोलता है भैया आपसे सर्टिफिकेट लेने में 2 दिन लगता है, सर मुझे चेक करके 15 CA 15 CB में 2 दिन लगेगा, नहीं तो कहीं और करा लीजिए, क्योंकि बाद में वो 15 CA CB का जब नोटिस आता है, सर आपने ही बताया था इसमें टीडीएस नहीं लगेगा, आपने ही बताया था इसमें डबल टैक्सेशन का कोई इशू नहीं है. So we all should open our eyes, and whether it's any certification or an audit, and we should know that the output or the final product, the audit report, the CAROS, SA700 report, we should give time to those reports and we should document. Because जब तक हम टाइम नहीं देंगे रिपोर्ट को और आधे घंटे में एक रिपोर्ट फाइनल करेंगे और 1 महीना ऑडिट करेंगे, नहीं चलेगा. That is an important takeaway from today's session, and we all have started this accounting year with a positive note, with a positive mindset, because we have to make sure that all our professional brothers take assurance as a specialized job. पहले के जैसा नहीं कि ऑडिट करेंगे तो टैक्स का भी काम मिलेगा, इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स का भी काम मिलेगा, वो दिन चले गए. Thanks a lot, Pramod ji, for the wonderful roller coaster ride which we have taken for last 1.5 hour or पौने 2 घंटा. And I would now request Tarun Gupta ji to give a formal vote of thanks to our regular speaker now, Pramod Jain ji.
Thank you, Vivek. Am I audible?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, thank you so much. Sir, I, Tarun Gupta, on behalf of ACAE Chartered Accountant Study Circle, express our deep sense of gratitude and loads of appreciation, sir, for such a wonderful session. Sir, in the initial bit, our Central Council members mentioned that you are a mall of knowledge. And
Amazon.
Some other person also said that you are an Amazon of knowledge. Sir, I would say that you have lived up to the expectation that was created in the initial bit of the presentation. And sir, I want to congratulate you for that, because you have covered so many topics, sir, in such a short time and in a crisp manner. Sir, you see, audit is a bread and butter for all of us. Whoever is hearing you knows that audit has to be done. But sir, I would like to say that whenever we hear a session, sir, on auditing or specifically standards of auditing, sir, we all feel that there is so much to learn. We are missing on so many things. So many things has to be seen. And now, sir, with the increased expectation of the regulator, of enforcement agencies, of clients, and sir, mainly the public at large, because now for every case, the name of one CA is coming, and we all are also undergoing a media trial. So the society at large is having so much of huge expectation from all of us. And sir, but sir, one thing I want to say, sir, there is so much of debate whether an auditor is a watchdog, whether he is a in these circumstances and under so much of pressure, sir, after an audit report is signed, I think the auditor is surely eligible for a black dog, sir. So with these words, sir, I would once again thank you so much. And sir, as a small token of appreciation, we would present you, sir, an e-memento. I will just share our screen. Yeah, so here it goes. Sir, we very humbly, sir, present you this e-memento. Sir, we will request you if you can take a print of this and frame it and keep it in your library, in your chamber, sir, so that we also get our appreciation for this. And you can also share it on your LinkedIn profile, Facebook, Insta, WhatsApp, and share it with your friends and family members, sir. Thank you so much. Over to you, Vivek.
And a closing remark from Anup ji.
I can only say that Pramod sir has the acceptance of our invitation from ACA was a great thing. Like I just called up. I also recognized presence of CA Raman Khatuwala. I spoke to Raman ji, and Raman said ki Anup bhaiya, let me speak to Pramod sir, and Pramod sir has immediately accepted the invitation from ACA. That is wonderful. I really hats off to Pramod sir. Your deliberations earlier also at this platform on tax audit was very well appreciated by one and everyone. So we were looking forward towards you for the session on this accounting standard, and really a very good program and very candid program. So thanks to you, sir. Thanks to you, sir.
Thank you, Tomoji, once again, and thank you, everyone, because without the delegates, none of the session are complete. And we would request you to keep joining us at ACACA Study Circle, and looking forward with all of you to have a wonderful session along with Social Goel ji and Abhay Desai ji on 3rd of this month, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. And do check out the video of this session at ACA YouTube channel. There are more than 1,000 subscribers on the ACA YouTube channel, and you'll get more than hundreds of videos of programs held in last 1 year. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Pramodji, once again on behalf of ACE. Thanks a lot for coming and deliberating on our platform.
Thank you very much.
Many
Thanks to all.